All right, Shalom Israel, Shalom Classroom, Shalom, Shalom, Shabbat Shalom to the 12 tribes scattered abroad. Peace and blessings to the elect scattered through the four corners of the earth. Double honors to the elect elders of the house of David that's been in this truth for decades and decades, patiently waiting for the second coming of Yahushua. A hearty shalom to you mighty men that go out there in the highways and byways to push this truth. You're risking your life to magnify the ministry in the name Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. Shalom to the men that may not be out there as of yet, but they're working on it. They're getting built up in the spirit. They're praying fast and studying, being diligent, and abounding in the work of the Lord. Shalom, shalom. Shalom to all of the Aquap out there, the sincere sisters out there, holding it down in the households, reverencing their husbands, being submissive and diligent, and moving in the spirit of our righteous foremothers. Shalom, shalom. It's another Sabbath service, giving again our honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashima Mashiach Ramalak Yahushua, the God of our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the Redeemer, the mighty one of Jacob, and the King of the entire earth, the high and lofty one that inhabits eternity.
God, like the brother said, Shabbat Shalom, all praises for another Sabbath service, all praises for another day of repenting, getting ourselves in order, our houses in order, abiding in the law, statutes, and commandments, the brotherly love. As we always do, we're going to start with Acts chapter 18 and verse 4.
Book of Acts, chapter 18 and verse 4. And he reasoned in the synagogue every Shabbat and persuaded the Jews and the Greeks.
Right, another Sabbath service to persuade Israel, who knows that they're Israel, to keep the law, statutes, and commandments, the brotherly love, the faith, all things to magnify the name of the Lord. Right, and to those just finding out that they're Israel, we're compelling them to come back to serving the Lord. Right, come back to serving the one true God of Israel. Right, forsaking the ways of Babylon, forgetting your get-rich schemes, wanting to be famous, wanting to make it in this world, right? We're out here to magnify the name of the Lord and to tell the people who don't know that they're Israel to be at the church of Berea, search the scriptures daily and diligently, right? And the only way we can do that is through Philippians 4 and 13.
Book of Philippians, chapter 4 and verse 13. I can do all things through Hamashiach Yahushua, which strengtheneth me.
Right, so through the spirit of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, we're able to cast down false doctrine, stand 10 toes down for the doctrine that we've learned, continue to adore, continue to exhort, continue to edify the sheep, right?
All right, you can bring out the book of Revelation, chapter 22 and verse number 12. So like all the mighty brothers are bringing out, man, we're living in the last days. We got to be humble, meek, and on fire for the name of the Lord, man.
Book of Revelations, chapter 22 and verse 12. And behold, I come quickly, and my reward is with me.
Right, that's not just talking about a physical crown, man. You got everlasting life. You understand it's the laws in your inward parts, land mass, conquering these nations, right? Living forever, being perfect. Right, that reward that the Lord is coming back to give is with him, man. You know?
To give every man according as his work shall be.
So if you slothful, if you wicked, if you're abominable, you don't care about the ministry, you don't read, you don't pray, you don't fast, the Lord is going to reward you that fact. For destruction, man. But if you're on fire, you're diligent, you're reading, you understand the Lord will reveal you an everlasting life. So we're going to do the Q&A through the Spirit. If you got questions, comments, or concerns, bring them out through the Spirit. Come on, real quick, go to 1 Peter 3 and 15, right? Because they may say, why do you guys do a Q&A, right? Well, this is what the Lord said, right? Go to 1 Peter 3 and 15. I didn't have really, we came, I didn't see a lot of Q&As, man. Years and years ago, man. Not decades ago, but years ago, man. I didn't see Q&As and stuff like that. So questions you had, either, you had to join the congregation. Baltimore, we had no caps in Baltimore, right? There were no caps in Baltimore as far as I'm concerned. You couldn't reach out and go to the school. You had to kind of try to go online, go on a comment board, maybe on an Elders and Block video on a comment board or something like that. Try to get the answers, man. So we have these Q&As because we know our people have questions, man. We're reading and studying. There's a lot of camps. You're watching videos. Sometimes you get confused and, you're dealing with personal issues. So we have to clear it up. So let's bring that up.
Book of 1 Peter chapter 3 and verse 15. But sanctify the Lord Yahweh in your hearts, and be ready always to give an answer to every man that asketh you a reason of the hope that is in you with meekness and fear.
That's a commandment, to be always ready. Instant at the drop of a dime, a brother should be able to go and explain what's going on in the Bible. One more. Give me Proverbs 15 and 28, man. Right? So you have, like I went into earlier in the code, brothers have to be well-rounded. You have to know the law, statutes, and commandments. You have to know the life of Yahushua.
the Hebrew, you have to know a little bit of Greek. You have to know the prophecies, right? You have to know the geography. And we went into the topography one time and the elevation of mountains to show you how Jerusalem is set up, huh? The Lord said, be not ignorant in anything, and a great matter or small. But when you have to know highways and byways, people can ask you anything under the sun. A top theologian can come up, or the scum of the earth, Esau can come up. Huh? Bring it up.
Book of Proverbs, chapter 15, verse 28. The heart of the righteous studieth to answer, but the mouth of the wicked poureth out evil things.
That's plain. So we study to answer. We're here to help our people. The Lord said, consider that I labor not for myself only, but for all those that seek learning. That's Sirach 33 and 17. So, real quick. So everything we study, we're looking at it, we're taking notes, going over the precepts. Okay, our people make answers. We have to be able to answer these questions. So we spend endless hours studying, man. We, selfish. It's like we're selfless, and we spend endless hours studying through the inspiration of the Most High to be able to do these Q&As, man. You got it.
Come. Let's go to 2 Peter 3 and 15. Right? And like the brother said, when we came into this truth almost 10 years ago, there wasn't a lot of camps out there. It wasn't as many camps as there are now. Right? We had what was that? ISUPK. That's all we had down in was that Lexington Market?
Yeah, they taught Lexington Market.
Right. Yeah. We only had a few camps that we can go and watch. Through the Spirit of the Lord, He's giving an increase. Right? And with that, a lot more people are waking up and they're starting to read on their own. And a lot of things are tripping them up. And they're reading it and they're like, well, this is contradicting that. That's contradicting this. Right?
Book of 2 Peter, chapter 3 and verse 15. And account that the long suffering of our Lord is salvation, even as our beloved brother, beloved brother Paul, also according to the wisdom given unto him, hath written unto you.
Right. So Paul has a lot of epistles written unto the churches, right? And we're those churches. Right. So we're reading these things trying to get an understanding, because Paul had an infinite amount of knowledge that he was handing down to the churches, right?
Verse 16, as also in all his epistles, speaking in them of these things, in which are some things hard to be understood.
Right. Some of these things are hard to understand. It's hard to read Hebrews if you don't have the foundation. Right. It's hard to build a house if you didn't lay down the foundation. Right. So some of these things are very difficult to understand. And through the Spirit of the Lord willing, the mercy, we're able to cast down the doubt, the misunderstandings, right? The things that get wrestled and tossed to and fro, twisted and knots. We're able to cast that down so Israel is able to have a perfect understanding through the Lord, right?
Which they are unlearned and unstable, rest as they do also the other scriptures, unto their own destruction.
Right, and that's what we're trying to avoid, our people wrestling unto their own destruction, leading to their own understanding. So the way that's in right into a man, but the ends of the ways thereof are the ways of death, paraphrasing it. Right, so we're trying to help Israel with the questions, the Q&As, the countless breakdowns, the countless lies, the counsels, right? So don't neglect the people who are putting in this work, because they're doing it for you, like the brother said.
And the Lord set this up, man. And this is mighty through the Spirit that Jake has an avenue to be able to get their questions answered. Let's go to the book of Mark, chapter 4, verse 33. That's what it all boils down to, man. Like the brother said, man, we didn't have this when we were coming up through the Spirit, man. I wish it was somewhere I can go where I can log in and ask as many questions as I want, and I can get an answer through the Spirit. Bring them up.
This is the book of Mark, chapter 4 and verse 33.
Right.
And with many such parables spake he the word unto them.
Right, so the Lord was speaking much parables unto the disciples. He wasn't speaking things very plain to understand, you know?
As they were able to hear it, but without a parable spake he not unto them.
Right, so you don't want to be confident in a plain way. Everything that you read in the Bible is double to that which is. It means something different. You can read it, I didn't even know it was saying that. I didn't even know this was going into that. Then you get deeper and then you get deeper, and the Lord expounds more and more knowledge unto you. You know?
And when they were alone, he expounded all things to his disciples.
Now that's very deep in itself, because the 12 are going to be over the 144,000. They're going to be the governing body of the nation of Israel. And the Lord had to expound the breakdowns to them. How much more us in the last days? So you can be taught in this thing. And it's good to ask questions.
God. So let's get right into it. Right? So let's get right into it. Now, we go in order, right? And we're trying to knock this out, man. Most are willing to know. spend an adequate amount of time on each question. So the first question from Benjamin Youngwolf: do we have free will? Well, I know brothers, let's go to the book of Ephesians, chapter 1 and 4. I got two. I'm only getting two and I'm passing. Right? We get two dribbles. Right?
Book of Ephesians, chapter 1, verse 4.
Right?
According as he had chosen us in him before the foundation of the world.
Hold on, read that again.
According as he had chosen us.
So Paul's writing this letter to the church in Ephesus, right? In Asia Minor, he said he chose us before what? Well, read.
In him before the foundation of the world.
Before the world was created. Before the earth was made and the sun and the moon, the elements, the creeping things, the fowls of the air, the Lord has an elect amount of spirits that have been chosen to receive salvation, that he made promises to. And no matter what happens on the earth, whether they're born in Brazil or they're born in Baltimore, Maryland, or LA, at a set point of their life, they're going to come into this knowledge, right? Whether they stumble across a YouTube video or brothers on the highways and byways, or they're doing their so-called own research, they're going to find this truth. If you're up the Most High, you're going to find this. Whether your cousin told you or whatever, you had a dream. There's so many different, ways that brothers come into this truth. Read on.
That we should be holy and without blame before him in love.
Now, one more. Go to Titus 1 and 2. Right? So the Lord chooses you before the foundation of the world. Bring it up.
Book of Titus, chapter 1 and verse 2. In hope of eternal life, which Yahweh that cannot lie promised before the world began.
See that he promised that to us before the world began. And now, were you there? Do we remember that? No, we don't remember that. We don't even know if we're those people, man. Right? We're just hoping that we're the elect, hoping that we make it out of here, man. We don't know if we're going to make it out, man. But the Lord said, be diligent to make your calling and election sure. So he gave you certain works that you have to do just to ensure that you are the elect, man. Because those are the things that the elect would do. And the Lord promised the elect salvation and promised them deliverance before the world began. So that's deep.
Come on, let's go to Sirach 43 and 10, right? So the short answer to that is no. There's no such thing as free will. That's a doctrine from Catholicism,
Right.
right? That do as thou wilt spirit. You feel like you can do as you please, right? That's not in the scriptures, right? It's not in the scriptures at all.
Book of Sirach, chapter 43, verse 10. At the commandment of the Holy One, they will stand in their order and never faint in their watches.
Right? This is talking about all the beauties that the Lord has created. So even the elements, the angels, the Yahweh Shine is in subjection unto the Lord. How much more us as mortal men and women? Right? We're at the subjection of the Lord to everything. He says, move this way, we move that way. Let's go to Jeremiah 10 and 23. Right? Right? The Lord directs our steps. He does everything for us. So there's no, I felt like doing this. And that's where a lot of people go off when they start talking about doctrine. I feel. Well, this is what I think. No, it's not what you think. It's always thus saith the Lord. Right?
Book of Jeremiah, chapter 10, verse 23. O Lord, I know that the way of man is not in himself.
So the way of man is not in himself. Right? You may feel like you want to do something, but the Lord got you on a string, got you doing every little thing he has you commanded to do. Right? Like people say it's a wrong place, a wrong time. No, it's the precise moment at the exact time with the perfect precision of it. Right? So there's no free will. Where we can finish this off, you got to keep.
It is not in man that walketh to direct his steps.
Right? It's not in man to direct his steps.
O Lord, correct me, but with judgment, not in thine anger, lest thou bring me to nothing.
Right? So you gotta ask the Lord to correct you. Now you know it can't be free will if the Lord is correcting you. Right? He's telling you how you gotta walk in the ways to please him. So how could you have free will? How could you do as you please? Right? A brother said, I couldn't choose my parents or my nationality. So how the hell can you choose anything in this life? Right?
Oh, that's a good point. Give me the book of Romans, chapter 8, verse 29. And the Lord said, hey, there'll be 12,000 from each tribe, huh? No matter how on fire you want to be, if you're not chosen to be the elect, there's nothing you can do about it, huh? Let's go to the book of Romans, chapter 8, and verse 29.
Book of Romans, chapter 8, and verse 29. For whom he did foreknow, he also did predestinate to be conformed to the image of his son.
So the Lord predestined you and conformed you to be on fire, to be the elect, to be an apostle, a disciple, to be his elect, right? And that's deep. So no matter what you were doing, if you were a drug dealer in the world, if you used to rob people, if you had no understanding, you was in Christianity, you came out of that. Look at Paul, man. Paul was predestined to be the apostle to the Gentiles. You know?
That he might be the firstborn among many brethren.
Right?
Moreover, whom he did predestinate, them he also called.
So everybody that got called in this thing were predestinated from the foundation of the earth. You know?
And whom he called, them he also justified. And whom he justified, them he also glorified. What shall we, Salakia, what shall we then say to these things? If Yahweh be for us, who can be against us?
Right, if the Lord be with us, if the Lord predestined us, the Lord's going to protect us. The Lord gave us the spirit, then who could come up against us?
So that's plain, right? And there's more we can go into, but I believe we have cold cuts, man.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes it's almost 2,000 videos on the cold cuts channel. So if you go on the cold cuts channel, let's see, we just type in cold cuts, and then free will. I got you a Kabashi on the cold cut on it.
Predestination.
All right, Malachi got one.
Yeah, I got one on
Right?
predestination.
There's no free will according to the Bible. You're right there on a predestination. So sometimes you can just type in on a Cold Cuts channel a specific topic, and then it come up, man. You know, it'll just come up. All right, next question. Let's see. Nakamaya, servant of the Most High. Why do Christians say Yahweh Shai and Michael are the same people?
Heard that.
Well, let's go to the book of Revelation, right? Chapter 12 and 7. Yeah, we people say that because they don't understand principalities and powers. They don't understand the hierarchy of angels. Now, real quick, before you go to that, go to Colossians 1 and 16. Yahweh Shai created Michael the archangel. Michael the archangel is the third spirit in charge. You have the Most High, then you have Yahweh Shai, and then it's Michael the archangel. Michael the archangel is one of the archangels, right? Bring that up.
Book of Colossians, chapter 1 and verse 16.
And Michael in the Hebrew is Mayaka Allah, which means who is like the Most High. Because he's created to be a warlike angel, for lack of better terms, just like the Most High. And Michael the archangel, see, everybody has their own so-called guardian angel. That's Psalms 34:7. But Michael's the angel over the nation of Israel. That's Daniel 12. He's the great prince that stands for the whole nation of Israel. He's the angel over the elect, right? So that's why he's going to come to defend the elect in the last days. With Yahweh Shai, right? Bring that up.
Colossians 1 and verse 16. For by him were all things created.
So by Yahweh Shai were all things created, right? So he created Michael, Gabriel, Uriel, Raphael. The Most High gave him the blueprint to make these things. Go on.
That are in heaven and that are in earth, visible and invisible.
Visible and invisible.
Whether they be thrones or dominions or principalities or powers, all things were created by him and for him.
So the Lord made Michael the archangel. Now, real quick, this is give me Joshua 5 and 13. Right? Quick precept. Joshua 5 and 13. And we've done, again, not just to be saying this, but when you want more understanding, you can go on the Cold Cuts channel and go into this. Because we're not going to be able to spend 90 minutes on this question. We would like to, but everybody else has a question. So the brother that asked this, what we cover, we touch on the surface, and then you can go in there and go into these cold cuts on principalities, power, spirits, angels, and we covered it, right? So let's bring that up.
Book of Joshua, chapter 5 and verse 13. And it came to pass when Joshua was in Jericho that he lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, there stood a man over against him with his sword drawn in his hand.
This is Yahweh Shai. Now you can say, well, I don't see the word Yahweh Shai. They don't say Jesus. Well, let's keep reading. All right, go on.
And Joshua went unto him and said unto him, art thou for us or for our adversaries?
Whose side you on, man? I'm ready to kill, man. What you want to do? Right, go on. Go on. You know what I'm saying? Ready to pop off, man.
God.
Go on.
Verse 14.
So he said, are you for us or for our adversaries? Go on.
And he said, Nay, but as captain of the host of the Lord.
He's the captain of the host of the Lord. Meaning, out of all the angels, he's the top one in the Most High's army. Go on.
Am I now come? And Joshua fell on his face to the earth and did worship and said unto him.
Oh, hold on, that's it on that. So he fell on his face. Now, can you bow down to a regular angel? Right? How do you know that? Say that in Revelation 19:10. Right? The Lord told the angel, or basically told John, see thou do it not. I am thy fellow servant and of one of thy brethren. That the testimony of Yahushua, worship the Most High, for the testimony of Yahushua is the spirit of prophecy. So this shows you that this spirit will have to be Yahushua. Now, the same thing, read on, it's more than that. So,
what saith my Lord unto his servant?
Right?
And the captain of the Lord's host said unto Joshua, loose thy shoe from off thy foot, for the place whereon thou standest is holy. And Joshua did so.
That's a key point to let you know this is dealing with the Lord, Yahushua. When else did this happen? Moses. Right? Let's get that real quick in the book of Exodus. Right? That's chapter 3. And we can start at what, 14? 3. 3 and I think it's 6. Then you can start at 4.
Book of Exodus chapter 3 verse 4. And when the Lord saw that he turned aside to see, Yahweh called unto him out of the midst of the bush and said, Moses, Moses. And he said, here am I. And he said, draw not nigh hither.
Don't come any closer.
Put off thy shoes from off thy feet.
Same thing he told Joshua. Right? Now, one title, he's called the captain of the host of the Lord. Go on.
For the place whereon thou standest is holy ground. Moreover, he said, I am.
And read it as it is written. Go on.
Moreover, he said, I am the God of thy father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. And Moses hid his face, for he was afraid to look upon God.
So that shows you that Yahushua, he's the captain of the host of the Lord. Not Michael the archangel. Michael is underneath Yahushua. You know that precept?
Right, you can go to the book of Jude, right, verse number 9. Right, Jude, right, verse number 9. And through the precepts, you get the understanding, right? That's why we gotta go precept upon precept.
The book of Jude, verse number 9. Yet Michael the archangel.
Right, and arch means chief in Greek, man. So he's the chief angel, you know?
When contended with the devil, he disputed about the body of Moses, durst not bring against him a railing accusation.
Right, a railing accusation, but what?
But said, the Lord rebuked thee.
The Lord rebuked thee. Now this L, right, it's not all capital. And we know all capitals mean Yahweh himself. Right, this is just a capital L. The Lord rebuked thee. What does that mean? Let's go to the book of John, chapter 5, verse 27. So Michael, he can't judge things, man. It's up to Yahushua. Give me that in the book of John, chapter 5, verse 27.
Book of
So if they're
John,
the same person, this wouldn't make any sense.
the book of John, chapter 5 and verse 27. And have given him authority to execute judgment, also because he is the Son of Man.
Right, so the Son of Man could do what? Judgment. Michael the archangel, he can't bring up a real accusation. He can't judge. He can't set things in order. That's up for Yahushua himself. So they can't be the same person. That's a straight cut. Michael the archangel is coming before the Lord. You understand, for the Lord to rebuke thee, because Yahushua has all judgment upon earth.
Come on, let's go to Revelations 19 and 4, since we touched on Revelations 19 and 10. Right, so the Most High has order in heaven. Right, like the brother said, you got Yahushua, he's the chief of the chief, and you got angels that follow underneath. Right?
Book of Revelation, chapter 19 and verse 4. And the 24 elders and the 4 beasts fell down and worshipped Yahweh that sat on the
14. Revelation 19 and 14.
Oh, Salakia. Book of Revelation, chapter 19, verse 14. And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses.
Right, so the armies that are following behind the Lord are those who stand up for the people. Right, the righteous angels who are coming to deliver the Israelites out of all the torment, captivity, and to bring judgment and vengeance upon the other nations. Get Daniel chapter 12 and verse 1. Right, Daniel 12 and verse 1, Bible show. Right, like we have orders set up in the nation of Israel, like we did before. Right, the Lord has orders set up.
Book of Daniel, chapter 12 and verse 1. And at
Yeah, you got it.
Book of Daniel, chapter 12 and verse 1. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people.
Right, so Michael is set up to be a great prince that stands up before the children of Israel, right? He's set there to defend us, like the brother brought out in June, wrestle with the body of Moses, right? So he's set up, right, for a defense for the children of Israel. And who put him in that place? Yahweh Shai. How did Yahweh Shai get the blueprint? From Yahweh, right? That's the order that's set up, right? He's part of the armies, man. Like how David had the mighty men,
Right.
right? The mighty men, you got angels set up to bring prayers unto the Lord. Like the brother said, everybody got their own angel watching over them, right? One more precept. Go to Tobit chapter 6 and verse 7. Right, Tobit chapter 6 and verse 7. Right, everybody has a certain angel that's looking over them. Because there's plenty of times people escape death. Right, you be walking outside and a big old car accident happen right before you, and the car miraculously flip over you. Right, that's the job of these angels. So what's the job of Michael? To look after the children of Israel.
Book of Tobit, chapter 6 and verse 7. And he said unto him, touching the heart and the liver, if a devil
7 and 6, like 7 and 6. My bad.
Book of Tobit, chapter 7 and verse 6. Then Raguel leaped up and kissed him and wept and blessed him and said unto him.
Now that's not the precept I was looking for. I'm going to bring you got it.
All right, real quick, go to Daniel 10 and 5. See, Daniel 10 chapter kind of goes into it, man. Daniel 10 and 5.
Book of Daniel, chapter 10 and verse 5. Then I lifted up mine eyes and looked, and behold, a certain man clothed in linen, whose loins were girded with fine gold of Uphaz.
What man is this? Nobody knows? Let's read on.
His body also was like the beryl, and his face was the appearance of lightning, and his eyes as lamps of fire, and his arms and his feet like in color to polished brass, and the voice of his words like the voice of a multitude.
Who is this? Yahweh Shai. There we go. So Yahweh Shai has been described. Now, let's jump down, right? Let's jump down to verse 11. And 10, read 10.
Verse 10. And behold, an hand touched me, which set me upon my knees and upon the palms of my hands.
Daniel fainted, man, so he kind of got up. Go on.
And he said unto me, O Daniel, a man greatly beloved, understand the words that I speak unto thee, and stand upright. For unto thee am I now sent. And when he had spoken this word unto me, I stood trembling.
Right, this is a scene to see right here. Go on.
Then said he unto me, fear not, Daniel, for from the first day that thou didst set thine heart to understand and to chasten thyself before thy God, thy words were heard, and I am come for thy words.
Right, came to answer his prayer request, his supplication. Read on.
But the prince of the kingdom of Persia withstood me 21 days. But lo, Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me, and I remained there with the kings of Persia.
So it's telling you they're two separate entities. And Daniel 10 and 5, Yahweh Shai has been described. And I say there's this other guy that came to help me named Michael the Archangel. Now, so in that chapter is giving the separation of, about 5 different angels. One to pick up Daniel, one to speak to him. You got Yahweh Shai in the 5th verse, then he's speaking about Michael. All of these different spirits are documented in this chapter that shows a clear separation.
It's Baruch 6 and 7. It's a lot. Baruch 6 and 7. Right? And this is to let me back on what the brother said. Keep going. Right, chapter 6 and verse 7.
I'll bring it up.
What
And it reads,
okay.
"For mine angel is with you, and I myself caring for your souls."
Right, so the Lord has angels set up to be with you in these last days, moving and walking, and the Most High Himself is caring for your soul. We're the apple of the Lord's eye.
That's it on that.
God, that's right.
Con, next question. From Shaban Israel, can you break down Romans chapter 14 and 14? Let's do it. Con, let's go to it. Jonah, Romans chapter 14 and 14. See that? This is not that this is his brother's standpoint, but Christians love Romans 14. I mean, they take this and they tend to go crazy, man.
We just had to deal with this.
Oh yeah.
With the God and Jesus are one God.
Oh yeah. He was sick. He was sick in the head. Read it up. Romans 14.
Book of Romans chapter 14 and verse 14. I know and I'm persuaded by the Lord Hamashiach that there is nothing unclean of itself, but to him that esteemeth anything to be unclean, to him it is unclean.
Right?
But if thy brother be grieved with thy meat, now walkest thou not charitably, destroy not him with thy meat for whom Christ died.
Read 14 again.
I know and I'm persuaded by the Lord Yahushua that there is nothing unclean of itself.
Now, to understand this, you have to read from the beginning. You got to read 1 Corinthians 8, 1 Corinthians 10. You have to understand that this chapter is not dealing with foods that are unlawful to eat, like pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster, but rather what? Food that are sacrificed to idols, right? Food sold in shambles, food sold in Greek marketplaces. And you had a lot of people that said, well, look, in the ancient times, you can't eat that meat that's sold in the Greek shamble. It may have been sacrificed to that Greek god. And a man would say, well, Greek gods ain't where I'm gonna eat that meat. He was like, oh, you're eating that Greek god meat, right? Zeus is on that meat. He said, well, look, I don't believe in Zeus, so it's just meat. You know, so this is the big deal going on. That's similar to now. People say you can't eat meat, right? GMO, you can't eat that. You're gonna die, right? You eat damn steak in front of them and they're ready to pass out, huh? Go to Romans 14 and 1. Let's get the context. And you can't eat meat in front of that guy, man. You might offend that guy. You know, he'll fall out the truth. Bring it up.
Book of Romans chapter 14 and verse 1. Him that is weak in the faith receive ye, but not to doubtful disputations.
So a brother that's weak in the faith, let's say that's a brother that's saying you can't eat nothing but vegetables. Because all the meat and everything else is defiled. It's GMOs, pesticides, and if you eat it, you'll die. He might be weak in the faith. You can take that brother in. Then he'll get built up and you say, okay, man, that lamb was good. Give him about two, maybe give him a year, man. And he'll be eating that lamb. You know?
Every day.
Every day, man. And you say, brother, remember that time when you was weak in the faith and you thought we couldn't eat no meat? And now you're eating lamb every day. You receive that, brother, but you don't receive a scoffer. That's a brother with doubtful disputations. I don't know about the Most High at all. Should I come to camp? Is the Most High going to be there? No, bro, we don't want you around, man. But if you believe in the Most High, you weaken this thing, we'll build you up. Read on. And here's the context, 14 and 2.
Verse 2. For one believeth that he may eat all things.
One brother believes he can eat all things, meaning meat, vegetables. You understand? Go
on. Another who is weak eateth herbs.
Another brother says, I don't want to eat no meat, I'll just eat herbs. Go on.
Let not him that eateth despise him that eateth not.
You can't get on a brother like that, man. You weak, man. The Most High's gonna kill you, brother. You a vegetarian, the Most High's gonna cut you down, man. Right? Who the hell you think you are, man? And the Lord sat at meat. He said it's meat to do the will of my Father. You're gonna die. You can't do that, brother. He just came into this truth last week. He told that brother's gonna get put to death. Give that brother a chance to grow, man. It's more than that. Go on.
And let not him which eateth not judge him that eateth.
Right?
For Yahweh have received him.
So in Romans 13, when he said there's nothing unclean of itself, it's speaking about a man has to be fully persuaded in his own mind to determine if something can be eaten or something can't be eaten. It's going to take us 2 more. Read on.
Verse 3. Verse 4. Who art thou that judgest another man's servant? To his own master he standeth for fault or fallen.
Yeah, the Most High is going to judge that brother at the end of the day. Go on.
Yea, he shall be holding up, for Yahweh is able to make him stand.
Right?
One man esteemeth one day above another, another esteemeth every day alike.
Yeah, brother might just came into this truth and said, I don't really know about this Day of Atonement. What's so significant about that day? It's just another day until he gets built up in the faith. And now he'll understand the importance. Okay, this day is reverence. Right? So every brother came in on a different level in the ancient times, just like now. Right? You might say the destruction of Nicanor is important. You might say, well, it's not the Sabbath day. Do I really have to keep it? But he'll get to the point where he gets built up on that level. Read on.
Let every man be fully persuaded in his own mind.
See that? So you have to be fully persuaded in your own mind. Meaning what? Let's say I'm a vegetarian. You're not going to convince me to eat meat until I get to that level. If I believe that I don't have to eat that, then I'm not eating it, man. You know, you can't make me eat meat right now, man. You know, no matter what you do. If I eat meat, you can't persuade me to be a vegetarian. I'm already fully convinced that I can eat meat, man. That's why Romans 14:14 is saying that there is nothing unclean of itself. Meaning when you would go to these marketplaces, it's not unclean. It could be lamb. You understand? That doesn't make it unclean, but it could be lamb sold to a Greek marketplace, and a man might think it's unclean because it's sacrificed to the Greek gods. Brothers understand that? And that's why it says, but to him that esteemeth anything to be unclean, to him it is unclean. Because he's persuaded that the Greek gods have dominion over this meat, and if I eat it, I'm gonna get a demon on. You know, so it goes to food sacrifice to idols and the shambles.
Let's go to 1 Timothy 4:1. Right, and a lot of these dispensations that people go through are from doctrines, man. Right, people being over righteous. Whether you didn't see him bow his head 3 times at that lamb before he put it up there so somebody would buy it. Right, people get so worked up on the little things, man. Right, not saying that food sacrifice to idol is a little thing, because some people that's a huge stumbling block. Right, but a lot of these doctrines are what's tripping people up. Right, they reading it and they're like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. Right, let's read down to verse. We're gonna read down to verse 3.
Book of 1 Timothy chapter 4 verse 1. Now the Spirit speaketh expressly that in the latter times some shall depart from the faith.
And that's all that Paul is doing, right? He's bringing people back into the faith, man. People was getting weak during the time of when Paul going back into the world, right? Talking about other gods, right? A lot of people going to depart from the faith.
Giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils,
right?
Speaking lies in hypocrisy, having their conscience seared with a hot iron.
Right, and being a hypocrite is awful, man. That's an awful thing to be. Right, speaking lies and hypocrisy, saying any damn thing that comes to their mind. Right, oh, we can't eat this on this day, but we can eat it this day because it's not this day. Right, that's how people go about it. Right, talking about, oh, I can do this and do that. I can eat this food because he made it and he sacrificed it to his God, but when he does it, this is not it's not okay. Right? Those are hypocrisies and lies, man.
Forbidding to marry and commanding to abstain from meats.
Right? Commanding people to abstain from meats. Right? A brother getting on you because he's a vegetarian. Like you're murdering somebody, you're murdering this, you're murdering that to eat this lamb. Right?
Which
a quick point, that's like those PETA people. You know, they'll throw blood because you got a damn meat on, huh? You know, so they'll say it could have been lawful, you could have bought it, but they'll throw blood when you throw a fit, man. And then fast for 3 days because you're wearing damn cotton, man, from a sheep.
Right. So this doctrine is going on now. Right? I had a brother try to confound me talking about it's a sin to eat meat. Right? Sitting there just blowing my DMs up. Like, you can't eat meat, you can't do this. I said, well, what are you doing to Passover? Well, the Lord is our Passover, so we don't have to eat it. Right? Just a whole bunch of hypocrisies and doctrines of devils, right?
Which Yahweh hath created to be received with thanksgiving of them which believe and know the truth.
Right? So the Lord created these animals to be received with thanksgiving, for it to be nourishment to your body, so you can endure in the truth, so you can keep going and going and going until the very end. One more verse.
Verse 4, for every creature of Yahweh is good, and nothing to be refused, if it be received with thanksgiving.
Right? So if the Lord gave you a clean animal to eat, it's good in this sight, but it should be received with thanksgiving. Right? Don't acknowledge the God that this heathen suggested that he sacrificed it to, right? Take this Zeus beef. You're gonna be like, what? Man, it's the Most High's beef. Get out my face, right? But you got to be careful because a lot of these things will trip people up. That goes back to Romans 14:23. If you eat it and you doubt, you're damned, right? You're like, well, man, it could be sacrificed. You're damned already, right? Because you're putting that spirit of doubt, and you're not eating in faith.
You can go to the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 8, verse 7. And that's why you got to know the context of the Bible, man. You can't just read it and jumping all around precept, and you have no understanding of the context of what's going in. You'll trip yourself up with your own understanding by leaning on it. Bring that up.
Book of 1 Corinthians chapter 8 and verse 7.
Right?
Howbeit there is not in every man that knowledge.
Right? Every man doesn't have that knowledge that you have, man. Going into what the brothers were bringing out. Everybody doesn't know everything. Can't get on a brother and grab him up by his collar and make an example out of him, man. He don't even know what's going on. We don't.
For some with conscience of the idol unto this hour eat it as a thing of Salakia, of science. Salakia, I'm gonna start from top. Howbeit there is not in every man that knowledge.
Right, every man doesn't know these things.
For some with conscience of the idol unto this hour eat it as a thing offered unto an idol.
Right, some people just go to hell off and they don't care. They know what's going on, but they indulge in it. You go to Christmas dinner, you licking your fingers. You know all of the breakdowns, and you still enjoying it. You going to Thanksgiving, you going to all of these different things, you know?
And their conscience being weak is defiled.
Right?
But meat commendeth us not to Yahweh, for neither if we eat are we the better, neither if we eat not are we the worse.
Right?
But take heed lest by any means this liberty of yours become a stumbling block to them that are weak.
Right, don't let this thing become a stumbling block. Meaning, hey, this could be a stumbling block to that brother that don't know what's going on. He's following behind you, and okay, well, you can eat this. Okay. Next thing you know, he's going the hell off, man. He don't even understand what's going on. Verse number 10.
For if any man see thee, which has knowledge, sit at meat in the idol's temple, shall not the conscience of him which is weak be emboldened?
Right, he's watching that man that has the understanding sitting in the temple. Read on.
To eat those things which are offered to idols, and through thy knowledge shall the weak brother perish, for whom Yahweh shall die.
Right, he's going to give you mercy, man. He's going to give that weak brother mercy because he doesn't know what's going on. A lot of brothers, when they first kept the Passover, they didn't keep it correct. That's mercy from the Lord. A lot of brothers, I don't know, can I cook? If somebody else cooked on the Sabbath, can I eat the food? Right? But brothers aren't built up when they first come into this thing. That's the mercy of the Lord abounding until you come into the knowledge, right, at a certain degree. You know?
But when ye sin so against the brethren,
Right, you judging him, you know?
and wound their weak conscience,
Right, you getting on him and you scaring him and he fall out the truth.
ye sin against Hamashiach Yahweh Shai.
Right, because who the Lord died for, that's going into Romans 8:1 now. Right, there's no condemnation in them that in the gospel, in the Yahweh shall paraphrase, you know?
Wherefore, if meat make my brother to offend, I will eat no flesh while the world standeth, lest I make my brother to
And
offend.
you don't want to make your brother to offend. You want to build him up and give him the knowledge of truth.
Yeah, and quick point, Slaki. That's that last part. Read that last part again. I just thought about something.
Verse 13. Wherefore, if meat make my brother to offend,
Like this, like I know, like Amos, he drinks. I may not drink. There's no Amos doesn't pressure me to drink. Right? If anything, they don't even say nothing, man. Brothers don't say they'll go and they'll do nothing, but they will say, oh, come on, now. And then they brothers drinking, and then brothers, yeah, drink it, take this. Hey man, all I have to break loose, man. I follow her, like we had I have been drinking 42 years. And then we had a just give him something to drink.
Elder William.
Yeah, Elder, just give him something to drink.
Go ahead, give him this cup.
They never see the brother again.
Come
man.
to the damn rim.
And we never saw the brother ever not damn since that day, man. So you don't want to do something where it offends your brother, man. I'm not going to go to a damn all meat buffet style full of the child all meat, and his brother's a vegetarian. Come on, you know what it is. And he's in there shaking because he sees all demons on the meat. You see that red, like they got the red thing and the green thing. Every time you flip it over, he's losing his mind. God dang, plucking his beard out, man. Hey, no, we're gonna go to a vegetarian spot, man. We're gonna work with you. And then we'll go with him because we don't want to break him down, man. He sees demons and fall with a child, and they come in with the lamb, slicing it up, and he's hearing damn nails on chalkboard, man. Bugging out. You know, so you gotta know how, like the brother was saying, you gotta know how to deal with your brother in this thing, man. There's no way in hell that if everybody in this room don't drink, we're gonna start drinking in front of them. They're gonna bug out, man. You know? I'm gonna make that quick point.
So like, yeah, and also that's not saying you can go and have Thanksgiving and Christmas dinner with your family.
Right.
That's not saying be a part of wickedness, man. Because people will say that. Well, I don't believe that it's Christmas dinner, so I'm gonna go with my family and eat it, and we're gonna have a good time. And I'm gonna take this present home and open it the next day, so it's not a Christmas present. Wait, that's how people move, man.
Yeah.
People try to find loopholes and wiggle through the truth, man.
Yeah.
Right? So, you know, when I first came into the truth, I was following this brother. I forgot his name. It was years ago. On Instagram, he said, we don't celebrate Christmas. We call it Ubuntu. I said, Ubuntu? And they broke it down, started explaining it, added precepts. I'm like, yo, what is going on? Brothers will find a way.
Yeah, that's off, man. You get 1 Corinthians chapter 10, right, verse 25. I'll touch on that real fast. So you don't want to cause your brother to sin, man. Right? Lay stumbling blocks before your brother. That's off.
Book of 1 Corinthians chapter 10 and verse 25. Whatsoever is sold in the shambles,
Right, like the shambles is like a meat market. You know?
that eat, asking no question for conscience sake.
Right, ask no questions, man. You're gonna find out things more than you bargained for, paraphrasing. Right. You're gonna find out stuff you don't need to know. Man. You don't go to Giant and say, well, what's that knife? What did you do that knife for? Right. He just finished cutting up some damn pork with the knife, man. Though these butchers in these places, they're nasty, man. They take the same things. You go to a so-called restaurant, they cooking the same unclean foods with the same clean foods, and they're not washing it down every single time they cook, man. You know how much meat they throw in that thing a day, man? And they don't give a damn if you eat pork or not. They want to make money, man. They're going to throw that damn meat on that thing. They're going to flip it up, and then they take that nasty, that scrape patch. Yeah. Then they just scrape all the grease to the gunk.
Right.
And then they put it in a bucket, man. Right. Then they keep going. Read on.
For the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. If any of them that believe not bid you to a feast.
Right, it may be, and that's not talking about a crackhead or somebody on the corners. It's talking about your family or somebody, like a friend. They may not have the understanding of the truth. They bid you to a feast. I mean, they come over to the house, we're going to eat. There's nothing wrong with that. You know?
And ye be disposed to go.
Right, you might want to go see your uncle. You haven't seen him in a while.
Whatsoever is set before you, eat, asking no question for conscience sake.
That's not talking about unclean foods like pork,
right,
and shrimp and lobster. Right, it's not what that's talking about, man. You may have your niece's graduation, and they're making her a damn god, and everybody cooked and brought a plate, and maybe Christmas, whatever these so-called holidays are. And you're not asking all of these questions. You're just coming over to commune with your family. You just want to eat and leave, man, and spend some time with them. He's like, well, what is this from? This is macaroni and cheese. How did you get this cheese? Where do you get it from? You get a Giant, you asking questions, you calling, you see the old lady to buy something earlier today, and then you tracing it all the way back to the damn farm. Now you're doing research on the farmer. What did he do? It's right. Off, you know?
But if any man say unto you, this is offered in sacrifice unto idols.
Amen. Meaning he's letting you know the deal, man. Read on.
Eat not for his sake, that should it, and for conscience sake, for the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof.
Right, like that. For lack of better terms, you got that cookies and milk spirit for Santa Claus.
Right.
Yeah, this is for Santa Claus. Don't touch it. Don't eat it. It's for Santa Claus. You put all of the damn chocolate chip cookies in the milk, then it somehow disappeared. Now, if that, which it isn't real, you took that. No, this was for Santa Claus, but I'm gonna give it to you. Don't eat that thing, man.
Right.
If your mom, came over, she made some cookies, get down, man. That's what it's talking about, not unclean foods.
Yeah, I got one more real quick. Go to Revelation 2:20. Right? Revelation 2:20. Yeah, that's off, man. Santa's cookies.
Book of Revelation, chapter 2, verse 20. Notwithstanding,
now this is Yahweh speaking. Notwithstanding,
I have a few things against thee, because thou sufferest that woman, Jezebel, which calleth herself a prophetess, to teach and to seduce my servants to commit fornication, and to eat things sacrificed unto idols.
Right?
And I gave her space to repent for her fornication, and she repented not.
Right?
Behold, I will cast her into a bed, and them that commit adultery with her into great tribulation, except they repent of their deeds.
Read.
And I will kill her children with death, and all the churches shall know that I am he which searcheth the reins and hearts, and I will give unto every one of you according to your works.
So the Most High's not with eating food, man, sacrifice to idols. That's right. Right? Stop going to Thanksgiving dinner, man. And being the first one to carve the lamb. I mean the damn the turkey, man. It's traditions, family tradition.
Basing the damn turkey.
Yeah, you got that nasty fork with the 2 prongs in it, sticking it in there, and slicing up the damn turkey, man.
Who's gonna do the honors?
Yeah, who's gonna do the honors? And you stand up and you get the big scoop of mashed potato first. Right? Everybody knows whoever carved the turkey get the big scoop, man. That's off, man. We're not celebrating the big scoop or it's like a Thanksgiving, man. You know? So let's move on. All right, see that? From said Israel Abaya, what date is the destruction of Nicanor and Purim? Oh, tonight at sundown. Tonight at sundown is the destruction of Nicanor, and so-called Sunday night at sundown, and Monday night at sundown is Purim. Explain. Got something left? All right, let's move on. Yeah, the 13th month, the 13th day of the month of Adar is destruction of Nicanor. Biblically, you read it as the 14th and the 15th day of the month of Adar is Purim. All right, let's roll. Let's roll. Please inform me on the Passover date from Yasha Allah Liwalamia, Israel forever. Right? So the Passover date is April 14th at sundown, which is April 15th. All right, April 14th at sundown is your Passover. Oh, you got something left? Are we rolling? Right, we rolling. Let's see. From Passport Hebrew, was Isaiah's second son Mahershala Hashbaz really Yahushua? No. We're gonna deal with it. That's a twofold. Well, his name means we'll go into it.
Yeah.
It means a swift destruction. Right? And we'll touch on it. Now, let's go to Isaiah 8 and 1. Isaiah chapter 8 and 1.
Book of Isaiah, chapter 8 and verse 1. Moreover, the Lord's
Hold on, read 18 first. That's what I want. Isaiah 8 and 18, then jump up to 1.
Book of Isaiah, chapter 8 and verse 18. Behold, I and the children whom the Lord hath given me are for signs.
Or for what?
Are for signs,
Right?
and for wonders in Israel from the Lord of hosts, which dwelleth in Mount Zion.
So there were things that the Lord would have prophets do that were symbolic for judgment that the Most High would do. Right? You read about Ezekiel going into his house, digging a hole, packing his stuff up, and moving by night. Or the Lord killing his wife and saying not to speak. Right? Or him lying on his side. Or Isaiah walking around naked for 3 years. The Lord said that Isaiah and his children, it's not just a regular family. They're literally created for signs and for wonders. So things that Isaiah would do, it was set up as a judgment. Like Hosea had to lay with a prostitute and do things of that nature. Even his sons that he had, with their name meaning, were set up for signs and wonders for judgments upon the nation of Israel. That's why you had Emmanuel, you got this man in Isaiah the 8th chapter. Right? So go to Isaiah 8 and 1.
Book of Isaiah, chapter 8, verse 1. Moreover, the Lord said unto me, take thee a great roll and write in it with a man's pen concerning
That's right. You do your best, King.
Mahershala Hashbaz. And I took unto me faithful witnesses to record Uriah, the priest, and Zechariah, the son of Jeberechiah. And I went unto the prophetess.
So his wife was a prophetess. Read.
And she conceived and bare a son. Then said the Lord to me, call his name Mahershala Slakia, Mahersha al-Hashbaz.
That's right.
For before the child
That's a tough name right there, man.
shall have knowledge to cry, my father and my mother, the riches of Damascus and the spoil of Samaria shall be taken away before the king.
Because lucky, because names have meaning, right? They wasn't Tyrone and Jamal. His name means a swift spoil or a swift destruction. That's why it says before he even begins to cry, the whole land is going to be spoiled. Symbolic for the swift destruction coming from the Assyrians to take down Judah and take down Jerusalem and take down Israel. That's why he named them that. That doesn't mean he's Yahweh Shai. Certain sons were given certain names as prophecy. Like even Methuselah. Methuselah's name means death shall come by him. Because when Methuselah died, what happened? The flood began. You understand? Enoch was set up. All of these men have names that mean things prophetically or for signs. Now, you got something on that?
No, that's too deep.
You got something?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, we don't gotta go too deep into that. So let's move on. Okay, from Quadan. Shalom. Does the scriptures apply if a brother has a heathen wife of another nation? Can you put her away if you just came into the truth, or do you have to remain with her? Well, let's go to Ecclesiastes 3:1. Then I got one more precept in Ezra. And we dealt with this question before. Right? If you're dealing with a heathen woman, right? Ecclesiastes 10:1. I mean, Salakia 3:1. Salakia King.
Book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3 and verse 1. To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven.
Right?
A time to be born and a time to die.
It's a time to be born in these last days, man. Right? Go on.
A time to plant and a time to pluck up that which is planted.
You have sowing time and you have a harvest. Read on.
A time to kill and a time to heal.
Right? It's a time to heal our people. It's a time to kill the nations. Go on.
A time to break down and a time to build up.
The Lord broke us down. Now he's building us up.
A time to weep and a time to laugh.
Right? It's a time to weep. We're weeping now. We'll laugh in the kingdom, also.
A time to mourn and a time to dance.
Right?
A time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones together.
We're gathering stones for the temple.
A time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing.
Right? It's a time to embrace. Embrace is a hug, affection, love. And it's a time to refrain from embracing. Go on.
A time to get.
It's a time to get wives in the other nations.
And a time to lose.
And a what?
And a time to lose.
It's a time to put them away, man. Right? When you go to war in the ancient times, you could take these women captive, man. They have to shave their head and pare their nails. Right? Give me that real quick in Deuteronomy, real quick, just to show you that. Now, can you do that now? Can you kick down? Can you go to suburbia America and cross that white picket fence and take the American flag off, right? And kill Lassie the dog and take the wife captive? No, man, you're going to jail. You're doing a hard time. That's homicide, brother.
So, like, we commanded to burn their groves in their temples.
Right.
Where we should be doing that now. But you can't do that. You're going to be, like the brother said, you have attempted murder charges, arson, vandalizing property,
burglary,
all that.
And you want, then you wonder, man, I did the work of the Lord. They threw me in the prison. Yeah, I'm doing 25 to life, brother. All praise, man. The Lord said I'm in the furnace. It's right too. No, brother. That's you being judged, brother. You're in solitary confinement, strapped up like a madman. I hope the Most High probably. Right, y'all hold it down out there, brother. You done wasted your time. Deuteronomy 21:10. Oh damn. You can go to big time jail for that, man. That's like first degree murder. Bring that up.
Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 21 and verse 10. When thou goest forth to war against thine enemies, and the Lord thy God hath delivered them into thine hands, and thou hast taken them captive.
Yeah, those are spoils of war. Even Simeon and Levi did that in Genesis 34. They took women captive. Abraham took the spoils of war, and it was women in that thing, man. That should not. A lot of people get sensitive. Oh no, the woman should she ever say, "Hey, this is ancient warfare." So when you read this Bible, get your mind out of this Western Americanized lifestyle. Put your mind in the Eastern ancient warfare. Women got taken captive. You know, you didn't get on one knee when you went to war and you saw the woman and take her out to dinner. Then first date, then you're on first base, you hold hands. And then you walk her to a door. Then you put a Lorenz tape from Love Jones. I just want Nina, I just want to talk. Right? No, you don't do that to the heathen, huh? Right? Go on.
And sees among the captives a beautiful woman,
Right?
and has a desire unto her, that thou wouldest have her to thy wife.
Yeah, you might want to do what you want to do. Read on.
Then thou shalt bring her home to thy house.
She might, and she might not want to go with you, right? Or she might, because she fear you, right? You probably killed her son or her brother, and she has to deal with this thing. Go on.
And she shall shave her head.
She shall what?
She shall shave her head,
Right?
and pare her nails.
Why does she have to shave her head? Show her head.
Like more appearance. Her father.
It's a little deeper than that. Humble herself. It's a psychological thing, man. They do that in the military. They make you shave your head. It's a sense of a new beginning and a new identity. They do it in prison, man. Certain jails, they make you shave your head, man. And they give you a damn number. You're number 5, and they'll shave your head. They did that to us in captivity, right? It takes away your identity. You understand? It's a sign of a new beginning. And it's a psychological breakdown of her mind. So she can know, look, whatever you came with, that ancient Canaanite life, or not Canaanite, let's say it's a Cushite or a Midianite lifestyle, those days are behind you. And a woman's glorious her hair, man. So you shave her hair, it does something to her mind. And she's taken captive, and she got to pare her nails. And women love their hair and nails, man. And it's also sanitation, because she might be coming with damn lice or disease. And, you gotta, when you shave somebody's hair off, it's a cleansing thing, too. That's going to the law of leprosy. Right, read on.
Then thou shalt bring her home to thy house, and she shall shave her head and pare her nails.
Right.
And she shall put the raiment of her captivity from off her.
Yeah, she might have had an old garment with Molech on it. It said Molech, right? You got to leave that all behind, man. You coming into my house, you got to start fresh, right? Take that old nasty garment on. Here, you might throw something in there on the 50th, it's the second day. You open up the little door, throw it, go ahead, put that on. And she in the morning, throw it on, I'll see you later. Go on.
And shall remain in thy house, and bewail her father and her mother a full month.
Right? So you giving her 30 days, she got to get over it too. After that 31st day, we don't want to hear about your father and your customs, man. Well, in my land, and we don't want to hear that, man.
That's right.
Well, we used to do it like this. No. You have 30 days to get over that, man.
That's right.
Now, if you go through these 30 days, okay, and we judge the matter, say, okay, she changed. She humbled down. Right? Then you could go, you'll deal with her. But she might still be running her mouth after the 30th day. Why do you cook this? Why is it well done? I look like what she throwing lamb at, and then you can put her away. Right? But you can't sell her. This is how you dealt with the women in the other nations in ancient times. This is harsh, but it's the warfare. There's nothing nice about war. Right? Read on. We can't break it down in a nice way. Read on.
And after that, thou shalt go in unto her and be her husband, and she shall be thy wife.
Right? Now that's plain. That's plain. Now, nowadays, can you do that? No. No, you can't throw no woman under your damn basement, chain her to the wall. You'll be on Law and Order. Man. They'll make an episode about you. Law and Order SVU. They'll kick your door down. That's human trafficking. They'll get you on human trafficking, man.
Like some Jeffrey Dahmer stuff.
Yeah, some madness. Now, one more real quick. Ezra chapter 10 and 10, real quick. Right? Ezra 10. So you kind of ran a risk, man. If you took a woman captive of another nation, she might not always submit. You just kind of playing with fire. Then you might end up falling in love with her. Then you end up serving her gods, man. So you kind of playing with fire. Ezra 10 and 10.
Book of Ezra, chapter 10 and verse 10. And Ezra the priest stood up and said unto them, Ye have transgressed and have taken strange wives to increase the trespass of Israel. Now therefore make confession unto the Lord Yahweh of your fathers, and do his pleasure, and separate yourselves from the people of the land and from the strange wives.
Yeah, because it's a time to build. They're doing the work of the Most High. They're building the temple. And even when you read Nehemiah, the 13th chapter, they think the children couldn't even speak the Hebrew, man. It says they speak half of the language of Ashdod, man, and of Moab. So that their mind was bad, man. We're building a nation in the last day. We don't have time for my son to be speaking Moabite, man, or Chinese. We try to keep the Passover. Ding, 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 ding. And he's sitting there playing the little timbrels, man, like that. Ding, ding, ding. And we're not dealing with that, man. He put the red dot on his forehead. You got to keep washing it off. But dad, mom, so-and-so. And one more quick point. Tiger Woods, brothers remember Tiger Woods? His mother's in Moabite. Now, Tiger Woods, he was dealing with all types of women, huh? He was essentially like a king. That's how kings lived in the ancient world. He had like 1,000 women. But then Esau said, you can't do that. You have to confess. Go on public television and confess. And he had his head down and said, well, my mother raised me a Buddhist. I know that this isn't the way to go. But he's an Israelite, huh? But he went back to his Moabite mother lifestyle. Because that mother has a lot of influence on you growing up. So if you're dealing with a heathen woman, you're going to be out there laboring in the field. And if they're Moabite women, she's going to get weak and show you about her gods. Yeah, I know your dad does this, but this is how we used to do it back then. And she might not tell you, you know, so.
God, let's go to 1 Esdras chapter 8 and verse 68, right? So this is after the time we came back, we sacrificed unto the Lord, right? The priesthood is being established. All these things are going on, man. And people still had secret sins on them, man. Still had those heathen women around them, right? Because Jake has fetishes, man.
Right.
Right, Jake has fetishes. We can keep it real.
Yeah.
Right, Jake's got
off.
fantasy. Yeah, they off, man. Because they watching all this TV, seeing all this weird stuff, all these interracial couples. I done seen so many commercials with interracial couples. It's mind blowing. Right, it's an agenda going on. Right, let's get it, King.
Book of 1 Ezra, chapter 8, verse 68. Now when these things were done, the rulers came unto me and said, the nation of Israel, the princes, the priests, and Levites have not put away from them the strange people of the land, nor the pollutions of the Gentiles, to wit of the Canaanites, Hittites, Perizzites, Jebusites, and the Moabites, Egyptians, and Edomites.
Right, so we came back into our land. We still had the ways of the heathens on us. They kept a few of them around. They was following in the ways, man. Right?
For both they and their sons have married with their daughters.
So they was getting in their lust. They was scratching and burning, doing whatever they wanted to do, man. Right? You know how Israel is. You know how we get, man. Right? It's a power sense trip, man. Once you conquer something, you feel like the man. We can speak as men. You know what we're talking about. Then you want to keep doing it more and more and more. Right? That's when Israel starts to slip.
And the holy seed is mixed with the strange people of the land. And from the beginning of this matter, the rulers and the great men have been partakers of this iniquity.
Right? From the top to the bottom. Right? Let's see what happens when the rulers get influenced by these strange nations. Let's go to 1 Kings chapter 11 and verse 1. Right? You start to slip slowly, man. Right? Jake starts to catch feelings for women, man. Right? When you know you're not supposed to, man. You know their whole purpose.
Right.
Right? That jungle fever spirit.
Yep.
Right? You start to not see her as your enemy.
Right.
Now she's your best friend.
Right.
Right? These movies wasn't just made for no reason. These directors were telling you what's going on.
Yeah.
Right? Do the right thing. Right? When what was Spike Lee's name in the movie? What was it? It was Mookie. Right? He was the middleman with the Italians, man. Right? He was supposed to be the one to keep the peace.
Right.
Right? He was the overseer. He's like, you gonna let them do this to me? And he kind of had enough of it, man. Just threw the damn trash can through the pizza shop, man. Right? That's what happens, man. You start to try to serve both masters. You try to please your wife, but you still want to please the Lord.
Book of 1 Kings, chapter 11 and verse 1. But King Solomon loved many strange women, together with the daughter of Pharaoh, women of the Moabites, Ammonites, Edomites, Zidonians, and Hittites, of the nations concerning which the Lord said unto the children of Israel, ye shall not go into them.
That's Deuteronomy, the 7th chapter, man. The Lord told you the nations not to deal with because they're going to lead your children to follow after their gods. And that's what happened with Solomon, right? But ultimately, it was all of the Lord to have it set up for Israel to split so we can have a great deliverance out of whatever captivity we set up one head, right? In a later sense. right? But that's what happens. Your heart starts to turn away. Well, let's go down to verse 4.
Verse 4. For it came to pass when Solomon was old that his wives turned away his heart after other gods, and his heart was not perfect with the Lord his God, as was the heart of David his father.
Right? So those women start to, and Solomon starts to listen. He's like, hold on, you're right now, I want to please her. Solomon was the man. He had X amount of wives, X amount of concubines, Lord knows how many children, right? And then it just got worse and worse and worse, right? And I gotta say this, Solomon was not into homosexuality.
Right.
Right? That's a question that was going around. Man, we're in Babylon the Great, the land of confusion, the gates of the gate. Right? Are you, any of y'all brothers ever? We don't gotta ask it, but we're not dealing with that, man. So I don't know why people think that that's okay to say. That's foolishness and madness. And whoever said it gotta repent. We ain't putting out no name. But you got it.
We go to First Esdras chapter 9 and verse number 7. Right? And like the brothers are bringing out, man, hey man, these nations, they love Jake, man. They wanna be Jake. You see the Moabite, I seen a Moabite, he had a damn Montclair coat on, all black, the bubble coat, right? And he was walking, he had his sunshades on, and you couldn't tell him nothing, man. He thought he was a so-called black man.
It's like $5,500.
Yeah, walking around, man, trying to be us. And they watch us, they watch our movements, how we do our clothing, you know, how we set trends and styles, and they try to be like us, man. Bring that out, Ken.
Book of First Ezra, chapter 9. Salakia, what's the verse again?
And 7.
Chapter 9 and verse 7. So Ezra arose up and said unto them, Ye have transgressed the law in marrying strange wives.
Right, that's plain. You went the hell off, man. You marrying all of these strange wives. And just because you got a lust, man, a lot of people, it don't even have to be sexual. People lust for cigarettes. People lust to cuss. People lust to fight. Hey, that's just lust. It's nasty. It's going off, man. You can't do that. You know?
Thereby to increase the sins of Israel.
And that increases all the sins. Because what you show that brother, I mean, when we see Jake at the harbor, it's at least 8 out of 10 are with a heathen. Maybe 9 out of 10. Every single time we see Jake, they're always with another nation. They always got their head down. And they always walking fast like they know they going off, man. Got him in the garden, sitting there trying to hide amongst the trees, man. They know they going the hell off, man. I seen a brother on my way to camp yesterday. I was walking, he was with another man holding hands. And I looked at him, he put his head down. Read on.
And now by confessing, give glory unto the Lord Yahweh of our fathers, and do his will, and separate yourselves from the heathen of the land and from the strange women.
Right, if you don't separate yourself from these heathens, like the brother said, you're gonna start doing their customs, right? Right, we subconsciously were keeping Christmas, right? Damn, years and years ago, we had no understanding. And we love these wicked things, man. We couldn't wait to go to parties and indulge in foolishness, man, until we came to the knowledge of truth. That's why the Lord said, let me get on Ephesians chapter 4 and 17. Real fast. Why the Lord said this. Ephesians chapter 4 and verse number 17.
Book of Ephesians chapter 4 and verse 17.
Right?
This I say, therefore, and testify in the Lord, that ye henceforth walk not as other Gentiles walk, in the vanity of their mind.
Right, other Gentiles, they're walking in the vanity of their mind, man. They do whatever they want to do. You see Jake, they knotted blind in their hair, they're putting blue contacts in. You got Jake, they're painting their damn their chest, man, and waving the one like they're the football game, just American as hell, just following the hell out of the so-called white man. You got a cowboy hat on, he's walking around, he's in the back of the line, just trying to keep up with the so-called white man. You know,
having the understanding darkened, being alienated from the life of Yahweh through the ignorance that is in them, because of the blindness of their heart.
Through the blindness of their heart. And they don't know the Lord. They don't know that light. So they following what they can see. And they follow and indulge in all of the strangers of the land.
God. Yeah, I don't have to get this precept, but quick point, man. Jake, in the kingdom, when you read Zechariah the 14th chapter, Isaiah the 13th chapter, Ezekiel 39, we're going to take the other nations captive, right? Now the Most High, we're going to be able to handle that in that days because we have a glorified body, and you're not going to go off. Jake, you can't handle that now. You just can't. Right? We've read time in and time out what happens when you deal with that. In this weak fleshly body, you can't have to deal with these other nations, man. You're weak. Now, certain men, Abraham dealt with Hagar, but there's no kind of Abraham going on. Certain men are strong and they can hold it down. Jacob can hold it down. Abraham, these men can hold it down. You're not like these men. Joseph held it down. Joseph had an Egyptian. Moses held it down. He had an Ethiopian. But Jake, you're not on that level, man. So, the Most High, you're not dealing with that now. Until you get your glorified body and the laws in your inward parts, then you'll be able to take the woman captive and you won't serve their gods, man. You want to make that good point. Was that something else? All right, let's move on. Come on, and what Abraham did. Come on, brother. Let's see. Let's move on to the next question. From Power Move Birmingham. You guys read from the annotated apocrypha with 2nd Ezra 2nd Ezra 7, verses 70 through 75. No, I believe it's only about 60. How many verses 2nd Ezra 7? It's only 70. Yeah, it's not, that's off, man. Good precept. Ecclesiastes 12:12. So you gotta watch out for these books, man. The 70 missing books of 2nd Ezra. Then we have brothers try to tell us that, man. There's no mystery books out there, man. The book of the Apocalypse of Rachel. I'm not reading the Apocalypse of Rachel. Right? The expeditions of Leah and Bildad. Come on, brother. Who wants to read the expeditions of Leah and Bildad, man? The Apocalypse of Baruch. They have that, man. The Assumption of Mary. You understand? These are like Torah terms. The tales of Peter and Clement. Right? Bring that out.
Book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 12 and verse 12. And further, by these, my son, be admonished of making many books. There is no end, and much study is a weariness of the flesh.
There's always new books coming out, right? If you look up, these are called pseudepigrapha books, right? Pseudo meaning false, and goes back to the word graphia meaning to write. So these are false writings, and they tell you that in the name. Well, why would you want to see something that's damn false writings, man? And you got all these, the Apocalypse of Paul, right? It's like, let me get this. The Testament of Adam and Eve. I'm not even going to pull it up because Jake is going to lust, right? So, no, you can't read that.
And if you happen to have read it, right, it doesn't coincide with the Bible, right? You got the Snoodaloof.
Right, the pseudo and the book of Joshua.
Yeah, he came in and
used his hand to take off the door of the Egyptians.
to unlock the door. So the Lord had a huge beast in his seat just to unlock doors.
Right.
How crazy is that?
He picking the lock.
They had giants that was 1,800 feet tall.
Right.
Right. It's just craziness, man. And then the giants were so angry with the people, so they started killing them because they couldn't provide enough food.
Yeah, eating them.
Then the next verse it says the giants don't eat at all.
Right.
Like
madness. And they use that old thou art. And you get tripped up with that old English. Right? It says, well, speak unto the children of Cain and tell them that when thou comest near the field, that thou shalt surely sacrifice unto Enoch. And you're like, damn, that do sound like the Bible. It says, surely and comest, it must be a book of the Lord. Just because it has old English doesn't make it a book of the Bible, right? Right, speaking to the sons of Baruch. Where is it at in the Bible? Right? And tell them, thou shalt surely perish in the land where thou art fallen. Oh, damn, when did that happen? Well, it never happened, man. There's no account of the sons of Baruch perishing in the land where thou art fallen, man. You got it.
So, like, I think in one of the books, the book of Jasher, it says that Moses' staff was made of a sapphire.
Yeah.
He had and that they put Moses' staff in the Ark of the Covenant. We all know whose staff was in the Ark of the Covenant, right?
Well, they had Aaron's rod that budded.
So how could it be Moses' staff in there that's made of sapphire? So a sapphire snake ate all. It was Aaron's rod.
Right, Aaron's rod.
So a sapphire rod turned into a snake and ate two different snakes and then turned back into a sapphire rod.
Yeah, that's
madness. Sounds crazy. Where the hell do you see a sapphire rod at? People should read this and be like, this is madness.
Yeah.
This is madness.
All right, next question. Ariah's hand is covered.
See that?
All right, see that?
See that?
All right,
See that?
yeah.
Jake like a detective, man. He's just looking for something.
Walk fresh. All right. Terrell Barnett. What's the spirit and letter in Romans 2 and 29?
I go into it.
Come.
Go to the book of Romans, chapter 2. Hey, Jake. Romans chapter 2. You said what?
They just want to see the haircut, huh?
Book of Romans, chapter 2, and verse 29. He is a Jew, which is one inwardly, and circumcision to that of the heart.
Right, you got to be a Jew inwardly, man. Just because you come from the seed line of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, don't mean you're Israel on a deeper level, man. You understand? You got all Israel is not Israel. You got certain people that are Americanized. They cast away who they are. They don't care. They want to move in an American mindset and understanding to choose religion and false idols rather than their God-given nationality and heritage, man. You know?
In the spirit and not in the letter, whose praise is not of men.
Right, so let's hold this. Let's go to the book of 2 Corinthians chapter 3. 2 Corinthians chapter 3, and let's start at verse 7.
Book of 2 Corinthians, chapter
Start at 6.
Book of 2 Corinthians, chapter 3, and verse 6. Who also have made us able ministers of the New Testament, not of the letter, but of the spirit.
Right, not of the letter, but of the spirit. You know?
For the letter killeth.
Right, that's the law. You understand? Under the ordinances of it, you could get put to death. You know?
But the spirit giveth
And
life.
the spirit is Yahweh. That's the grace and mercy and liberty of the Lord. You know?
But if the ministration of death written and engraven in stones,
Engraving the stones. When did that happen? On the mount by Moses in Deuteronomy the 9th chapter. You know?
was glorious,
Right, it was glorious.
so that the children of Israel could not steadfastly behold the face of Moses for the glory of his countenance, which glory was to be done away.
It's not talking about the law's going to be done away with. That's talking about animal sacrifice. Certain things had to be done away with in the law, not the whole entire law and the whole entire letter. You know?
Verse 8, how shall not the ministration of the Spirit
Right, grace and mercy,
be rather
because
glorious?
it excels it. You understand? When you read all throughout the epistles, it excels the law.
Yeah, that's plain. That's plain. That's plain. Right? So let's move on. Terrell Bennett, according to scripture, what's the difference between a teacher and a scholar? Well, let's go to First Chronicles 25 and 8. All right? First Chronicles 25 and 8. And we'll go into the Hebrew for that, to show you. Let's go to First Chronicles 25 and 8 and deal with it. All right, so that's a good question right there, man.
Book of First Chronicles, chapter 25 and verse 8. And they cast lots, ward against ward,
Ward against ward.
as well the small as the great, the teacher as the scholar.
The what?
The teacher as the scholar.
The teacher as a scholar. Now, this is David through the Spirit setting up all of the Levitical priesthood and the singing men and the singing women. Put them in their courses, setting up the order for the temple. Now, we're going to go into this word, and these are he's dividing up the musicians. That's why it says, and they cast lots, ward against ward, as well as the small as the great, the teacher and the scholar. Now, read on.
Now the first lot came forth for Asaph to Joseph, the second to Gedaliah, who with his brethren and sons were 12.
Right?
The third to Zachor, Salakia, his sons and his brethren were 12.
So he had how many divisions? He had 24. Right? Give me a real quick Luke chapter 1, and I believe I want 6. Because John the Baptist, his father was at the course of Abia. He had these 24 divisions of these men that he set up through the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. Now, when you go to Luke chapter 1, and I want verse, let's see, 5. Come, what?
5.
Come, Luke 1 and 5.
Book of Luke, chapter 1 and verse 5. There was in the days of Herod, the king of Judea, a certain priest named Zacharias of the course of Abia, and his wife was of the daughters of Aaron, and her name was Elizabeth.
You see that? So these priests had different divisions. And Slakia, David set up different divisions for the singing men, the singing women, and for the Levites. So he came for the from the course of Abia. So you would spend some time at the temple for a certain dispensation of time, and then the next course will come up. Like we all stayed in the school for the first 3 months, then we'll leave, then the next course of man come up. And that will happen in 24 different divisions. Now, we got the word teacher and scholar, we're gonna pull it up in the Hebrew.
This is teacher first. Right.
Strong's H 995. Bean.
Right. Being. It means to understand, attend, consider, be cunning, diligently direct, discern, elegant, feel, inform, instruct, and intelligence, know, look well to, mark, perceive, prudent.
Right, so these are men that were veterans, well off, aged men within this course in this division. Now go to the scholar.
Strong's H 8527. Talmud.
Right. A scholar, a pupil.
A scholar or a pupil, meaning somebody that learns. You know, so, and they had that in the law. When you go to Numbers real quick, 8. I believe that's Numbers chapter 8. And let's start at, it might be Numbers 4. Bear with me 1 second. Let's go to Numbers 4. That's what it is. Right? Numbers chapter 4. And you can read verse 47, then I'm going to jump up.
Book of Numbers, chapter 4, verse 47. From 30 years old and upward, even unto 50 years old, everyone that came to do the service of the ministry and the service of the burden in the tabernacle of the congregation.
Now, that's the age time that you can do this work, from 30 to 50. After 50, you have to retire. Now, it says 30. Now, when you go to Numbers, and I'm finding the precept, I believe it's Numbers the 8th chapter, the Lord says 25. So you had years of like an apprenticeship that you have to learn. So when you hit the age of 30, you knew how to do the work of the Most High within the tabernacle. Now, is that it? Yeah, kind of Numbers 8 and 24. The one.
Book of Numbers, chapter 8 and verse 24.
Right?
This is it that belongeth unto the Levites. From 20 and 5 years old and upward, they shall go in to wait upon the service of the tabernacle of the
So
congregation.
they had like a pupil standpoint. Then at the age of 30, they were able to actually go in and do this work, you know, and at the age of 50, they had to retire. So you had different divisions and different offices for different men within this priesthood and within the temple, you know? Was understand that? Yes, it does. All right, that's a good question. So let's move on. Uriah 14, proof that we can't buy on the Sabbath. My dad said there's no law against it. All right, let's go to Nehemiah 10 and 31. All right, I hope your dad is watching, right?
Whoa.
Now you gotta listen to this. You gotta tell your dad Nehemiah 10 and 31. Right? Now you gotta tell him everything. You can't say, look, man, this is what it is. That's all, man. You gotta look for your dad and use wisdom, man.
God.
Right? Nehemiah 10 and 31.
Book of Nehemiah, chapter 10 and verse 31. And if the people of the land bring ware or any victuals on the on the Sabbath day to sell, that we would not buy it of them on the Sabbath or on the holy day, and that we would leave the 7th year and the exaction of every debt.
Right. Yeah, at the year of release, they would keep and they can buy on the Sabbath day. You had the men of Tyre and Zidon going in to try to set up their wares on the Sabbath day to sell. And Nehemiah was chasing people and beating people down and threatening them, man. So you're not coming in here buying on the Sabbath. You have to get physical, man. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. So no buying on the Sabbath. What's that, something else?
We can go to Numbers chapter 15, and we can start at verse. We can start at verse 32. Yeah, let's start at verse 32. So if this man who was out in the wilderness with Israel was doing this, how much more us if we go out and buy and sell, right?
No, so
15 and 32.
Numbers.
15 and 32.
Book of Numbers, chapter 15 and verse 32. And while the children of Israel were in the wilderness, they found a man that gathered sticks upon the Sabbath day.
Right, so they found a man who was gathering sticks. What do you think he was gathering sticks for? He was making a fire to cook, right? He was making a fire to cook.
And they that found him gathering sticks brought him unto Moses and Aaron and unto all the congregation. And they put him inward because it was not declared what should be done to him.
Right, they pretty much locked him up. They said, we're going to figure out what we about to do with you. Right, they brought him to the heads of the people and said, look, you know what this man was doing? Right, that's how serious our forefathers took the Sabbath. Nowadays, brothers talk about you can do as you please on the Sabbath. Right, you can lay with your woman on the Sabbath. Wait, isn't it a holy convocation? Aren't you supposed to gather together on the Sabbath? Right, I don't want a brother around me who just got done doing what he's doing and he unclean, talking about, hey, brother, how you doing? All in a happy mood, touching me.
Right.
Get me all up in our spirits all upon me. Right?
And the Lord said unto Moses, the man shall be surely put to death.
Right, so they put the man to death just for gathering sticks on the Sabbath. Right? How much more buying and selling? Making somebody labor. Right? Now you're causing your brother to sin if you buying and selling on the Sabbath. Right? Exchanging money. Right? And aren't you working if you get what I'm saying?
Right.
Right? On the Sabbath, if you working.
Right.
Right? You sweating. Right? You gotta wash your sheets. You gotta do all this extra stuff. Right? You gotta be put apart until the sun go down. Right? In the days of so-called what's that? When the sun goes back. When the
So-called daylight savings.
Daylight savings, the water. Right? You might be unclean until 9 o'clock. Sometimes the sun don't go down till 9 o'clock. Right? You did what you had to do at 7 a.m. Now you can't be around the brothers till the Sabbath is over, man. Now you done missed the whole day of congregating, getting edified, waking up the sheep, getting sins laid off of you. Right? So the Sabbath is extremely important. No buying, no selling, no cooking, no doing your own pleasures.
And if you're buying, I mean, in the ancient world, they couldn't just clock into the work. They had to carry their wares. You may have a fruit stand. You got to set the whole thing up. You got to nail it. They got to break it down and take it home. That's work, man. So of course, it's not going to be able to. It's not going to be men setting up shop because that requires a labor. And you couldn't even think in Jeremiah the 17th chapter. We don't got to really get it. The Lord said, "Carry no burden out of your house, man." So if you was leaving your house, what are you going up? What are you doing, man? Unless it was doing the work of the Most High. You know, now we know that it's lawful to do well on the Sabbath. So let's say you bust your head open and it's gushing blood. Like remember that movie, damn Apocalypto, the guy said was just shooting out blood. I can't buy a Band-Aid. It's a Sabbath day. You're delirious and your eyes are rolling back. Gotta keep the commandments. Brother, get that stitched up, man. You know, get it stitched up, man. You know, that doesn't mean it's 50 degrees outside and your throat is sore, so you need a cup of hot tea. So you drive and you get a cup of hot tea. You gotta have some discernment.
So like an example would be if you're on your way to camp or something and you blow a tire. Right. You gotta fix it so you can do what you gotta do. Right? You can't just sit there and be like, well, I'm gonna just stay in this car for the next 24 hours. Yeah. Until the sun go down and do. No, you gotta fix that tire. Right? Don't be simple in this thing. You gotta use wisdom.
Okay, so like Terrell got your back, man. They hold it down. Terrell Barnett, how do you prove the cross is an idol? How do you prove? They mention what a cross is an idol. We hear that all the time. You got an idol on, right? Let's go. Oh, you have something?
Yeah, I get it. Go. Right. We can go to the book,
right? Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 64. Let's go to the law.
right?
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 64.
Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28. And
That's a lot.
verse,
Brothers always bring out this metaphor, man. The Lord was killed on the cross.
God.
That's not to commemorate him and glorify it and all this is my hope. But your damn grandfather got his damn neck cork and hung off a damn what do you call it? A damn noose, man. Not gonna walk around with a noose on your damn chain, man. It's off. You don't really remember him like that, man. Remember all the times he taught you, he led you, he protected you, he read to you. You're not gonna remember his death and that violent rope that was wrapped around his neck, man. Bring that up.
Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 64.
Right?
And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people from the one end of the earth, even unto the other. And there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone.
And that's plain, man. That's wood, multiple fold wood. You got so-called, what is it called? The Apollos, where they rub that freaky piece of wood, man. Everybody rubs that wood before they go to perform, man. And if you don't rub it, Steve Harvey said, "I do."
Right.
Gotta do it.
Right.
You know, then they do the little truck back, and then they rub the wood, man. Like that's supposed to give them some type of spirit to perform good, man.
Good. Like it when we used to play basketball and football, we expect a little sign above before the game.
Yeah, all these traditions that we don't even know why, man. You understand? So that wood, you got crosses, you got that tree trunk, the Apollo, man. You got all manner of folly and foolishness, right? Of wood being set up to glorify that piece of wood or that piece of stone.
Cons. And I had a point, but it escaped me. So no bowing down to crosses and idols, man. That's madness.
20 and 3. You guys, Exodus 20 and 3. Right? Like when I was young, we used to drive by graveyards, you know, hold your breath. Like you'd be like, I gotta show respect into these grave sites.
Right.
You don't know who's in there, man.
I remember I had a quick point. Sometimes, man, you'll go to these Ishmaelites or Elamites to sell you jewelry, right? And they got the pendants. 9 times out of 10, or the Moabites, it's a damn. I saw an AK-47. Now you got the pendant. They had to get the damn gun. It might be a microphone. Just nigga stuff. Dice. A bullet. Yeah, a bullet. A damn a boom box. A money sign. And that's all they had, man. I would have been. That's all I saw. Literally AK-47 crosses, the Muslim star, the damn Muslim W, whatever that means. Y'all know that nasty Muslim W, and all types of items, man.
The weed leaf.
The damn weed leaf. That's what they sell, Jake. Microphones, damn weed leaf, AK-47. I said, this is some bigotry, man. And I looked at, I'm looking for something. Ishmael get up, he got his damn shoes on. What do you want? What do you want? Want to buy it or not? I said, no, I don't want to buy it, man. Kind of got out of there. But the point is, they set these idols up as a stumbling block in the community, man. If Jake kill each other, and they damn cleaning their gun on, boy, this is me. I call this one the damn Drake goes so and so. I call this one Drake 5 through this, the KD, Drake 5. And that's what Jake do, man. Then you damn gun the KD, you name one the damn so and so, man. Then you got the damn chain on with the AK-47 on it.
And the joint with the big bag of money.
Yep.
Big bag of money with the
Monopoly joint, man.
Yeah.
The money bag.
Money bag joint.
And they got the Egyptian joints too.
Yep.
The Egyptian one. The Unk.
Yeah.
You know, Jake loved thinking they Egyptian, man. But let's read Exodus 23.
Quick point. They don't sell that to the Esau. You go to Jared's, you got to Zales. You're not going to see that AK-47 and dice, man. You know? Just want to make that point.
Yeah, wicked.
This
God.
is the book of Exodus, chapter 20 and verse 3. Thou shalt have no other gods before me.
God.
Thou shalt not make any. Salakia. Thou shalt not make any. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in the heaven above or that is in the earth beneath.
Right, and that goes hand in hand with the third verse. Right, you making a graven image. Right, I know everybody done seen on the back of cars, they got the Jesus fish, right, with the cross on the inside of it. Right, so you're making images of things that are on the earth. You're making the image a corruptible animal, a corruptible thing, instead of worshiping the Lord. Right, you about to get that precept?
Yep.
Come. Right, so they're making all these corruptible images to represent the Most High, right? But this is what you should not do.
or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them.
Now, people always ask, oh, you got a graven image on your chain, right? You got a lion, right? You got this, you got that. But we're not creating this to make this an idol, right? Man, we're flying. We make everything look good, man. We're not bowing down to no lion's head. We're not bowing down to whatever chain. What chain brothers got on? Mikey just went into the bathroom. Michael always got chains on, right?
Mike Fresh.
Yeah, Michael Fresh. Right? But we're not bowing down to these chains and making these chains idols, man. We're not sitting here making a cross our God. Now, a lot of us did it in ignorance, right? Got tatted a cross on us with a dead relative's name, right? We didn't know that. We did that in ignorance, man. We didn't know why we did that. I did that in ignorance, right? The elder did it in ignorance. You too? Yeah. We all done it, right? So we subconsciously made an idol out of these things, right?
I got a piece up real fast.
Right, let's go to the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14, and verse number 5. Right.
That's right.
Let's go to it.
That's right.
14 and 5.
Come on. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14, and verse 5.
Bring it out.
Book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14 and verse 5.
Right?
Nevertheless, thou wouldest not that the works of thy wisdom should be idle, and therefore do men commit their lives to a small piece of wood.
Right. Right, like a boat. Read.
And passing the rough sea in a weak vessel.
What is the wood?
A weak vessel.
It's a weak vessel, man. You don't put your trust in this wood. You don't say carving it up, you're doing everything you do. Well, I took 5 months to make this boat, this yacht, whatever it is. I put my trust in it. It's going to pass through the foulest of weathers and the seas and all of this, and I am going to be safe because of this wood. I put all my trust in it. You don't do that, man. You put your trust in the Lord. You know?
Are safe. For in the old time also, when the proud giants perished, the hope of the world, governed by thy hand escaped in a weak vessel.
And he called the wood a weak vessel.
And left to all ages a seed of generation. For blessed is the wood whereby righteousness cometh.
Right, and that's what the Noah Ark was. You understand? The gophers wood. Blessed be that where righteousness cometh, because the Lord, he saved right through the hand of Yahweh Noah, man, and erected, man, by that wood. Not that we trust in the wood, or we sacrifice unto the wood, or we bow down into the wood. The Lord can use anything for righteousness.
Yeah, and this is what people believe when they bow down to the cross. They believe that white Jesus is right there next to him, right? Look at this guy bowing down to the cross. When did the Lord say do that, man? When did Peter and John go back to Golgotha and go and start bowing down to the cross? That's not even in there. Didn't the Lord give them straight commandments in Acts, the 1st chapter, told them what to do and not to do? He never said, I need you to go back to the cross and bow down to him. And there's this pastor, he actually is selling the Lord's blood. He said, I got the Lord's blood from the cross. It's $2,000 a bottle. Right? So, I mean, yeah, people are doing that, man. And people are buying that like it's going out of style, man. And he's actually making money off of that. A lot of people believe that he went back and got that. Now, look at this. You could buy it for $95. Right? You can buy the blood of the Lord, man. So, people get off of that thing. I got the blood of the Lord on my chest. It's covering me. That's madness, man. Right? Madness.
So like I have one more precept.
Come on.
Let's go to Romans 1 and 21. Right? Romans 1 and 21. Oh man. Stuff you see on YouTube, man.
Yeah.
Right, Romans 1 and 21.
Book of Romans, chapter 1 and verse 21. Because that when they knew Yahweh, they glorified him not as God, neither were thankful, but became vain in their imaginations, and their foolish heart was darkened.
Right, so the Lord put blindness on them because they didn't glorify the Lord when they knew him. But what did they do?
Professing themselves to be wise, they became fools.
Right, and those be the most foolish people. They be too deep for their own good.
Right.
Right, start digging in the rabbit hole and start saying some crazy stuff. Right, don't even know what they're talking about.
And change the glory of the uncorruptible God into an image made like to corruptible man, and to birds and four-footed beasts and creeping things.
And that's what the white man does, man. The so-called white man, I should say. Right? They make images of God, and then they make merchandise of it, man.
Yeah.
They sell you the dove, right? And they put that nasty Yiddish in it,
Yep.
right? And people go crazy, man. But look, it's the Hebrew, right? They sell you the Jesus fish, they sell you the cross. Man, they got so many defiled images talking about this is the Lord, it represents the Lord. Right? And they bow down, be walking past, and do that thing, man. They even got a cross with a circle in it. The Catholics got it.
Yep.
Right? A big old circle in the cross with the cross, man.
Sun worship.
Yeah, the sun worship, man. Right? These Edomites, man. And our people eat it up, man. Because they profess themselves to be wise, thinking they know something, they become even more foolish and in the worse state than they were before.
And quick point, they actually
Be kissing the cross when they were out on their neck. Right? For good luck, man. They take it. Right?
that's what they do. They go off, man.
That's right, man. You know? So let's move on. Oh, he was just making sure you had, but okay, all things. Just making sure. Is it a sin to play the lottery? Right? Let's go to the book of Romans. Actually, let's give me Proverbs chapter 13. And I want to go to verse, I believe 11. Proverbs 13, 11. Right? Is it a sin? Are you not going to see a commandment that says, thou shalt not play the lottery? For if thou doest, thou shalt surely die with stones. Right? That's not in there. You're not going to see it written like that. Right? So playing the lottery goes into being covetous too. You understand? So you're breaking all types of commandments. You know, you think it's innocent because you play the Lucky Ducks, the Powerball, right? The damn Mega Millions,
The horses.
the horses. You one of those alcoholics in the back of the gas station, sitting at nasty stool, man, counting the damn horses, man, with your tickets in your hand, saying this is it, this is the one, right? Bring that up, and the digital horses, man. Bring that up.
Book of Proverbs, chapter 13 and verse 11.
That's a pro. People made that, man. They're not real horses. Right? Bring that up.
Wealth gotten by vanity.
The Lord say,
Wealth gotten by vanity.
the Lord is not with wealth gotten by vanity. He's not a genie, and then there's $25,000. Remember, we had a brother that we taught years ago. He said the Most High manifested $10,000 in my bank account. Right? Brothers remember that?
Brother Euphoria.
Yeah. Damn, that was his name.
Euphoria or something like that.
Yeah,
Utopia.
Utopia. He named his daughter something wild, man, and his son. Malachi was teaching that day. Now, the Lord said, wealth gotten by vanity shall what?
Shall be diminished.
Right?
But he that gathereth by labor.
By what?
By labor.
By what?
By labor.
Shall what?
Shall increase.
The Most High is going to honor that brother who put his hand to the plow. You understand? The Lord said, hate not labor's work. I don't want to work. I just play the lottery all day. Brother, I mean, what do you think is going to happen, man? My great-grandparents have been playing the lottery every day since 1970, man. They have lottery books, lottery dream books. They have the secret code, and all they do is play the day before, the day before, the midday. I need to get my tickets. And that's all they do. And they don't win. And I was thinking about how much money you have spent over the course of 49 years of lottery tickets, man. Well over thousands of dollars. Betting on damn 4, 3, and 6. People are like, well, that's my name. My name fell today. What do you mean my name fell, man? Right? You know your uncle, his number fell today. I don't want to hear about that, man. The damn uncle, his number fell, man. Now, the Lord, let me get one more real quick. Go to the book of Romans chapter 7. I used to hear stuff like that, man. Right? Romans chapter 7. And let's go to verse 7. Right? Romans 7 and 7.
Book of Romans, chapter 7 and verse 7.
Right?
What shall we say then? Is the law sin?
Is the law sin?
Yahweh forbid.
Right?
Nay, I had not known sin,
I had not known sin.
but by the law.
Right?
For I had not known lust, except the law had said, thou shalt not covet.
Thou shalt what?
Thou shalt not covet.
Right? I have not known lust unless the Lord says thou shalt not covet. So it really goes into covetousness. And you're lusting, man. And you think if you buy this ticket from this place, you're going to win. My grandpa, I got all of the stories. I got to go to Ohio. They won the Mega Millions out there. So he'll drive to Ohio from Detroit to get that ticket just to lose. Well, that's because it wasn't a Friday, right? I should have made it on Friday. No, brother, you can't. And you get all these superstitions, man. That's your lucky quarter for the scratch off. You got the lucky quarter. Can't scratch off the scratch off with nothing but his lucky quarter. Madness.
So lucky, they put signs up and it says $50,000 winner here.
Yep,
Right?
they
So
do that.
you-
Yep.
So you know you have a chance to get it.
Got something on that?
Come, let me get the book, right, of Jeremiah chapter 2 and verse 35. Right, Jeremiah chapter 2 and verse 35. And you'll bug yourself out trying to win those things, right?
Right.
You'll bug out. I got somebody I work with at my job, old Jake, he's so-called, what they call him, that maintenance man. He always in the 7-Eleven in the morning. I get my breakfast, so-called, whatever the case may be, something to drink. And he always in there at the damn counter, scratching up and giving me that look. And maybe today, right? Bring it up,
This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 2, and verse 35.
right?
Yet thou sayest, because I am innocent.
And a lot of people say they're innocent. I don't see it in the Bible. I'm tired of hearing that, man. I don't see it. I don't know. Maybe I'm clean. You know?
Surely his anger shall turn from me. Behold, I will plead with thee, because thou sayest, I have not sinned.
And a lot of men say they have not sinned and they're innocent, and I don't see these things in the Bible. Stop being carnal, man. What does it say you can't jump on a trampoline and try to make it on top of a building? Oh, I'm gonna see if I can jump. Brother, you're gonna kill yourself, man. It's not gonna be in there and saying certain specific things that you wanted to say. Go to the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 5, verse 10. Ecclesiastes, chapter 5, verse 10. And you're ultimately putting your trust in something other than the Lord. That's what it boils down to. The Lord is supposed to feed you and give you food and rain. You understand?
Book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 5, and verse 10.
Right?
He that loveth silver shall not be satisfied with silver.
Now let's stop playing games. When you play the lottery, you don't want to just get your rent for the next month. You want to make it big. You want to get to the point where you never have to work again.
Right.
You can buy all the cars, the planes, all of the yachts and the boats, and you can get all the women, and you just want to live the American dream, man. You know?
Nor he that loveth abundance with increase. This is also vanity.
It's just vanity, really.
When goods increase,
When goods increase,
they are increased to eat them. And what good is there to the owners thereof?
hey, the Lord said, what's the good of the owners thereof? To have all of those things. They're materialistic. And then you'll start to lust to put your trust and make them your gods. You know?
Saving the beholding of them with their eyes.
Right, you just getting off by looking at it. What good is that gold chain that you spent $100,000 on? You just to look at it and behold it. The Ferrari, the yacht, all of those things just to look at it. It's not going to save you. It's not going to give you anything that you need in salvation. It's not going to give you faith and understanding. You know?
The sleep of a laboring man
The
is sweet,
sleep of a laboring man.
whether he eat.
Salakia, read that again.
The sleep of a laboring
The
man
sleep of a laboring man
is sweet.
is sweet, man. When you get off of work and you lay down on that bed, you be knocked the hell out, man. You don't need a damn 2 king-size beds and the air conditioner turned on. You need the window open and super quiet. As soon as you kick them damn boots off, man, you take that work outfit off and you lay on that bed, you're at peace, man. That's all you need. You don't need all of these things, you know?
Whether he eat little or much, but the abundance of the rich will not suffer him to sleep.
And that's Jake's mentality that the grass is always green on the other side. That they're sitting up somewhere in a high rise and they have no troubles. And the Lord said, the rich man, we believe the Lord, man. The rich man is not sleeping, man. He's always worrying about more riches, more vanity, and folly, man.
God. 2 quick precepts. Go to Deuteronomy chapter 6 and verse. It's lucky here. Go to Deuteronomy 6 chapter, and if I just had it. While I look for that, go to Sirach 31 and 1. Right, Ecclesiastes chapter 31 and 1.
Book of Sirach, chapter 31 and verse 1. Watching for riches consumeth the flesh, and the care thereof driveth away sleep.
Right, same thing in Ecclesiastes. Go on.
Watch and care will not let a man slumber.
Yeah, I know brothers, going back to, I got a grandfather, he stays at the casino nonstop. Right? He'll actually drop me off at the casino. It's 2 p.m. and they ask you to pick him up 3 days later. There's no clocks in the casino. There's no watches. There's no guy saying, well, you know, you've been here for 8 hours. Shouldn't you leave? Nobody's doing that, man. So it'll take away your sleep, man. You'll be in there for days and days. Just pulling that lever. Damn. Then you keep putting the damn numbers in, pulling the lever. To them, you hit the 777, man. Right? Then you get up, go to the bathroom, somebody gets fight. It's a fight. I was about to win. Right? You'll leave, somebody go there and they'll win. I mean, you'll lose your mind. People will lose their mind. If you get up for 1 second, then they get in your spot and win. I mean, people rob people and stuff like that.
I was warming her up, spirit.
Yeah, I was warming up. I just had it, man. You got some kid? Oh, to get that brother the microphone.
When I used to work at the casino, people would come to me to like make sure nobody takes my spot.
You see that? People do. He said that's not his job, man.
That's crazy.
Right? You got a point, King? Get that brother the microphone.
Yeah, I got a roommate, well, my business partner. Recently, I heard a brother in Detroit won the lottery for 30,000.
Right.
For the 20,000 on the chain.
Right.
Right.
Oh, and he got robbed. I mean, he got robbed the same
robbed
day.
at
The
gas
same day.
station,
Yep.
right?
That's
Just
Jake.
flexing, so
Yep.
I actually know the person.
You see that? He knows that guy. Right? Now finish that, Sirach 31.
Wow.
Madness.
As sore disease breaketh sleep.
It's like a sore disease, man. You know, because you sleep. Gotta get this money. Gotta win. And you're thinking about it. You just wake up like a robot. Maybe if I play 4, 5, 6 instead of 6, 5, 4, surely I'll win. Then you go to sleep and you think, man, I'm gonna win, man. Then you wake up. No. 4, 5, 6, I played that last week. I played, and then you keep going on and on, man.
Checking the stocks every
Clicking that button, man, that refresh button for Forex and NASDAQ, man. Go on.
The rich have great labor in gathering riches together, and when he resteth, he is filled with his delicates.
Right?
The poor laboreth in his poor estate, and when he leaveth off, he is still needy.
Yeah, that's us, man.
God.
We still needy, man. You can work damn 18 hours and it's gone in 18 hours, man. Right? Read on.
He that loveth gold shall not be justified, but he that followeth corruption shall have enough thereof.
Right?
Gold have been the ruin of many, and their destruction was present.
Right?
It is a stumbling block.
It is what?
It is a stumbling block
Right?
unto them that sacrifice unto it.
Because you're sacrificing. What happens if you sacrifice to anything except Yahweh Shah? You'll be utterly destroyed, man.
Come.
So now you have made this your God. Read.
And every fool shall be taken therewith.
One more. Deuteronomy 6 and 16.
Come.
Right? Deuteronomy 6 and 16.
Book of Deuteronomy chapter 6 and verse 16. Ye shall not tempt the Lord your God, as ye tempted him in Massah.
And now you're tempting the Most High. A lot of people pray, man, God, I just want to put the lottery ticket under my pillow. God, please give me this. Why are you tempting the Most High? The Lord isn't a genie, and he pops up out of a magic lamp, right? It's like, you got 3, right? Come out and say, look, you just got 3, right? No, he says, I'm the Most High, you got 3. That's off. I mean, the average Jake was, well, can I get $10 million? And can you kill a railroad from down the street? And I want this woman from the movie. That's what Jake would do, man. I want $1 million pounds of weed, and I want that Montclair coat, you know, and I want all types of madness. The Lord never says, "Look, all right, you got 3." No, the Most High said you got to labor. Every man labors, man. Isaac labored, Jacob labored, and to get his wife. You got to labor in this thing. You can't just pray for money. Well, please get $20,000 in my bank account, and you sitting around eating damn Cheetos playing a video game on the Atari. You got it, King.
I got one more precept. You got it.
No, you got it, King.
Carl, I just want to get this quick precept. This 2 Kings chapter 5 and verse 16. Real quick. 2 Kings chapter 5 and verse 16. So let's see what our forefather did when they tried to give an abundance of money, man. Let's see if he took it or he did.
Book of 2 Kings, chapter
And
5.
we don't gotta read the whole account. Bring it up.
Book of 2 Kings, chapter 5, and verse 16. But he said, as the Lord liveth, before whom I stand, I will receive none.
Look, I don't want your money. Read.
And he urged
him
to take it. But he refused.
But he what?
But he
And
refused.
he could have had a lot of damn money. Imagine somebody trying to give you money. Bricks and bricks, $100. Right here, here's the Benjamins. I don't want it. They put a spirit on you, man. You know, you may so-called help somebody out or do something or pull a favor or whatever the case, and somebody wants to reward you for that. He said, I don't even want that money. Because if you got a lot, if $50,000 ended up in your bank account tomorrow, a lot of brothers don't fall off the truth, man. They'll fall off the damn truth. Because they'll, okay, I'm gonna spend this. What am I gonna do? I'm gonna pay this off. I'm gonna move. Well, I can finally get the house I want, but the house it's not in Baltimore anymore. It's gonna be in Atlanta. Then they're gonna choose rather to go get their fantasy house where they have no congregation, nobody to labor with, and they're gonna start choosing vanity over what's sound. And they're gonna put their trust in the abundance of riches.
That's right. That's right.
God, let's go to Sirach chapter 29 and 4. Right, so what I'm saying, more money brings what? More problems, man. So now that you done hit this big lottery, right, you up $100,000, $500,000, hands gonna start reaching out. Right? Riches got by deceit, they vanish real quick, man.
Right.
They vanish very fast, man.
Sorry.
29 and 4.
29 and 4. Book of Sirach, chapter 29 and verse 4.
Right? And we know it's nothing in the sight of the Lord to make a poor man rich. Right? It's nothing in that sight, man. But you can't go out there throwing cash and money out to these Ishmaelites giving you nasty lottery tickets and things like that. I played the lottery a couple times. Right? I got the itch. Right? And what did it do? Made me lose money. Right? I'm mad. I'm walking, man, I could have had that $30 in my pocket.
Right.
Now I got $5 and it could have went to gas. Right? Stuff like that happens all the time, man. That quick get rich scheme. Right? We not, like we say, we don't tell you this because we ain't been through it. We've done this 100 times over. Right? You got to learn from experience.
Book of Sirach, chapter 29 and verse 4. Many, when a thing was lent them, reckoned it to be found, but Salakia and put them to trouble that helped them.
Right? So many are going to be looking for something to get lent to them. And it's going to put those people in trouble, right? That lent it to them, man. Because they like, look, man, I know you just hit for $100,000. Let me hold 20, I'm going to flip it. Right? That 20,000, I'm going to give you 80. Watch. Right? And there's so many stories of people that hit the lottery and they broke the next year. Right? How you get 2.5 million and now you living on the streets? Right? And it was a show I used to watch. What was it called? With the women, the crazy women who used to kill people. It was a show about women who would kill people.
Oh, Fatal Affairs?
No, not Fatal Affairs. I can't remember. You know what I'm talking about, right? You talk about the women and they kill people. It was this so-called white woman. Got with this Jake who hit the lottery, ended up killing him, buried him under the house and put asphalt over where she buried him. Right? Not Wicked Women. What was it called? Snapped. There it was. Snapped. That's what it's called.
There you go. I'll be around.
There you go. I'll be your TV.
Television.
Right. I'll be your TV, man.
I read it from the chat.
Oh, from the chat. All right. Kind of clear his name.
So the man got all this money, right? Built a nice house, started dealing with an Edomite. His money started getting lower and lower and lower because his family started hitting him up. Next thing you know, the white woman got tired because she couldn't afford all the fancy things, right? He done licked it all out, put him in trouble. Now she buried him under the house, man. So more money equals more problems, man. And so like you jump to verse 7.
Verse 7.
You can read 5, then jump to 7.
Verse 5. Till he have received, he will kiss a man's hand, and for his neighbor's money, he will speak submissively.
Right? So you got to watch out for these people who hop in your DMs asking for bread, man.
Or gas money.
Or gas money or Sabbath snacks. Right? Look, you know, my wife has cravings. Can I have $25?
Or a hoagie. In the middle of the night with a hoagie.
Right? It's 2:14 in the morning. And they hitting you up. Can I have $21.75? That's a real specific amount,
Right.
right? You gotta watch for people, man. They gonna kiss your hand, be real submissive. Look, I know you a righteous brother. I follow you. I like your pictures.
Right.
Man, it happens.
You like all your pictures, then now you want to ask for money.
Then he'll ask his sister and then say, well, can you be my wife?
Right. And then they'll say, when she say no, he say, well, cough up the dough. You know, in the audio message.
Keep going, please.
But when he, Salakia, but when he shall repay, he will prolong the time and return words of grief and complain of the times.
Now when it's time to get back the money, look, brothers, we're not rich, we poor, man. We're not living like Esau, man. We go through stuff.
Right.
Brother be like, yo, can I hold 20? Be like, yeah. Then that 20, look, it's been a month. Come on, man. You know I'm gonna give it to you. You know I'm good for it.
Right.
It's been a year.
I know a brother like that.
Yeah, it's 100 people like that, man. 1 million people. Look, man, you're gonna keep vexing me. I ain't gonna give you that money at all.
Right.
Now that friend that turned into an enemy, man. That more money, more problem spirit is true, man. So be careful what you pray for, because the Lord will give it to you and then jack you up. So like I got verse 7.
Verse 7, many therefore have refused to lend for other men's ill dealing.
Right. So once you go through stuff like that, you refuse to lend to brothers, man. You get cut, man. Like, yo, giving out money it stains friendships, man. I got a homeboy who always asks me for money after I tell him I get a new job or something. He always, yo, I'm kind of short. Can you help me out? Right. He's like a brother to me. I done helped him out twice. Then it's like, yo, you done asked me about 15 or 16 times, man. Right. It's getting tiresome. Right. Many refuse to deal with that because of ill deals. You got to keep. Right.
Fearing to be defrauded.
Right, fearing to be defrauded, man. So you can't defraud your neighbor, man. That's a sin. Right, sitting there being mischievous, asking 100 people for a couple dollars, right? But you don't never have the intention to pay it back. Now you're using Israel for benefit, right? The Lord gonna get with people like that.
Right, that's off. Let's go to Sirach chapter 14 and verse number 3. Sirach chapter 14 and verse number 3. And watch out for those scam artists in Israel, man. Click on the link.
Right.
Give me your cash app. I just made $10,000. Well, we don't believe you, man.
Right.
And then 3 weeks later, you got this so-called Moabite running your page now.
Yep.
All your pictures wiped out. Right? Your pictures are wiped out all of a sudden.
Right.
You disappear off the face of the earth. Bring that up.
Book of Sirach, chapter 14 and verse 3. Riches are not comely for a niggard.
Right, they are. Just greedy, man. It's
Right.
not comely. You don't want to give everybody money because there'll be a nigga with it. Right? They'll start going off. Right? They'll buy things. Like the brother said, somebody hit the lottery for $30,000, they bought a $20,000 chain. $20,000 chain and got robbed, man. And he probably took that last 10 and bought a lesser chain, man, to get that. Right? I said, damn, I gotta save face. Right, Jerome?
And what should an envious man do with money?
What is an envious man gonna do with money but spend it, man? He's not gonna help the poor. He's not gonna give to the homeless and help build up a congregation. You know?
He that gathereth by defrauding his own soul,
Defrauding his own soul.
gathereth for others, that shall spend his goods
Righteously.
righteously.
Right, like your brother said, man. You got certain people that just want to mooch off you, man. Well, I got it, then we all got it. Hey, I was watching an interview, so-called the rapper Fat Joe. He said he was taking care of 50 men. He's a damn fool, man. This is your children. He said he was taking care of 50 men. He'll bring them all in the club. He'll feed them all. He might as well say spank them and change them all, man. Right? He said he gave them housing and food. And he said one time he was on his private plane and he said to all his men that he don't got it anymore. He said all of them left him before. So they all using you for a sponge, man. You know?
He that is evil to himself, to whom he will be good, Salakia, he shall not take pleasure in his goods.
Right? You're not going to take pleasure in the goods, right?
There is none worse than he that envieth himself, and this is a recompense of his wickedness. And if he doeth good, he doeth it unwillingly, and at the last he will declare his wickedness.
Right, this is the point. Read on.
The envious man hath a wicked eye.
A wicked eye.
He turneth away his face and despiseth men. A covetous man's eye
Right. Covetous man's eye.
is not satisfied with his portion.
Because he always wants more, man. You look at all of these celebrities, they always want more. They're not in it, you understand, to get a little bit of money and then leave. They're in it to be the richest, to be on Forbes list, to so-called, like in the world, you want to stunt on somebody.
Right.
Just want to stunt and have the most money. Read.
And the iniquity of the wicked driveth up his soul.
That's plain.
And with that, one your show.
It's like, yeah, my fault. But tonight, destruction of Nicanor.
Right.
Tomorrow night, Purim, Atlanta trip. Next Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And the weekend after that, the Bay Area. Right?
God.
God.
And with that, one your show.
Shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom.